beaten up and beaten down during a long season is tough for a veteran catcher. The battles at the plate for two veterans is part of a struggling 2013 campaign. For a pair that has achieved so much, the final month annually has provided so many important moments for each. And last night was another memorable September evening. Oh, there's been some pretty exciting ball games. Even Lefty would be excited by not only the pitching, but also the offense that the Phillies have thrown up there, particularly late in the game here at Citizens Bank Park over the last several weeks. Tonight it's Game 2 against the Washington Nationals. And if you look at the Phillies' success against the Nationals, even this year, most of that success has come here at Citizens Bank Park. They're 6-1 this year against the Nationals here in Philadelphia. And overall, since the start of 05, they are 52-29. And the numbers, aside from home runs, pretty lopsided. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Chris Wheeler. Last night's game was exciting on so many fronts. A great pitcher's duel for the first 6 innings until Strasburg left, and even the 7th for Cole Hamels. And after that, both bullpens struggled somewhat. But then the Phillies' offense came to life late.
As you said, Tom, a lot of good things have been going on around here in the late innings. In the last homestand, the first game of this one, and it happened again last night. Carlos Ruiz has really been right in the middle of everything, too. This guy has been tremendous in the second half of the season. See, he got that broken bat hit. Jimmy was on second and running on the play. He was trying to steal third base. The broken bat hit did it, but here's the big one that wins the game for them. In the hole to left field, he got ahead in the count. Harper makes a strong throw, but it's up the line a little bit. Jimmy Rollins makes a tremendous slide to the mound side of home plate, and the Phillies win the ballgame. Now, you see how's Chooch doing the season comparison. First 47 games, he admitted, with the injury that he had, with the suspension, all those things, probably was trying to do too much. The last 26 games, more like himself, and hitting some home runs and doubles. He's always been a pretty good doubles guy, too, since he's been in the major leagues, especially when he's swinging the bat well, because he'll use the alleys. And right now, he looks like Carlos Ruiz again.
Well, and also, he's a free agent at the end of this year, so questions abound about Carlos Ruiz, not only for him personally, but also for that catching position for the Phils in 2014. So tonight it is Game 2 of this 3-game series. Ethan Martin will give it a go once again, his 7th start of the year since coming up from the minors. And Gio Gonzalez coming off an outstanding start against the Miami Marlins. He's been very good against the Phillies during the course of his career. You know what else has been good for the Phillies? B.J. Rosenberg out of the bullpen. So much more comfortable, so much more confidence, and a better breaking pitch. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phils. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Last night when the Phillies won 3-2 as they scored 2 runs in the bottom half of the 8th inning. They're hoping for a little more offense to back the pitching of Ethan Martin. Martin getting a chance to make his 7th start in the big leagues. Let's take a look at the Nationals starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off in center field, Denard Span. Ryan Zimmerman bats second. Bryce Harper hits third, followed by Jason Worth and Ian Desmond. Adam LaRoche over at first base bats sixth. In the bottom third of Ramos Rendon and Gio Gonzalez. And they'll face young Phillies right-hander Ethan Martin. Martin 2-3 in the big leagues after going 11-5 down in the minors.
A lot of hits per innings pitched right now. He does have 32 strikeouts, so in 25 and a third innings, that's what really jumps out at you. 7 home runs allowed. Our scouting report on Ethan Martin. Big time fastball, curveball. He just needs to go deeper into ball games and throw a lot fewer pitches, because you look up and he has 100 pitches after 4 or 5 innings, it seems like.
And we'll see what kind of approach the Nationals have against him tonight. Denard Span did not bat in last night's game. He came in late as a part of a double switch to play center field. But he's hitting 15 straight. The first pitch is over for strike 1. So we're underway. Span's average up to 275 with 3 home runs and 38 runs batted in. Nationals come into this ball game 7.5 games behind the Reds for the second wild card spot. They're at 69 and 68. As the players acknowledged last night, their opportunity is starting to whittle away, but that's their goal still, is to get to the postseason with a month left.
Every loss like last night's another dagger to their chances, because that was a very difficult game for them to lose last night.
1 ball and 2 strikes. There's Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Washington Nationals. He knows next year he's going to have a new manager in that dugout. Davey Johnson is not going to manage after this year. His bench coach Randy Knorr made it known that he would like to have that position if given the opportunity. 1-2 pitch. Dragged over to second base. Hernandez charges. Has to hurry, and just in time to get Span. He might have waited just a little too long, and that made it a much closer play.
Yeah, there's a lot involved in then playing in the major leagues, and one of them, of course, is knowing your opposition and the way they can run. You can't take any extra time. What saved him was he has a really strong arm. Watch how, when he flips this thing, how hard he throws this baseball. Right from his ear. And most second basemen cannot throw the ball that hard. That's why they're second basemen and not playing on the other side of the diamond.
But he's not playing on the other side of the diamond because the guy that's currently on the other side of the diamond, and that's Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, and Freddie is the guy that when you watch him play, we've seen enough of him now. Freddie's not a guy with a big arm shortstop. He's a quick release guy that tries to maximize getting the ball over to first base as quickly as possible. He doesn't throw it real hard.
No balls and 1 strike to Ryan Zimmerman, who's 1 for 4 in the series yesterday and a home run. There's a breaking ball outside. Zimmerman has hit 368 in his last 14 games.
Here's a home run he hit last night. One of the few mistakes Cole made all night. 0-2 fastball, missed the spot completely, and Ryan Zimmerman didn't miss that baby, and he hit it out to deep left center. Gonna have trouble doing that tonight, though, because the wind is blowing strong from left to right. The ball will get knocked down out in that area.
Holds off on a breaking ball. It's 2-2. Well, look at the flags. This is totally different than yesterday.
Well, the northwest wind, everybody knows how cool and comfortable it is right now, and when the flags blow that way, it's coming out of the northwest.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Ryan Zimmerman. And he fights one off foul over the head of his first base coach.
He's seen a few of those hooks, and he had another one coming right at him then. And it kept moving, and you could tell he wasn't sure what to do. And he threw a little emergency swing on it, and he fouled it off.
He fouls another one off. This one at 95 miles an hour. Martin in his last outing went 4 innings, allowed 4 hits and 3 runs, struck out 9.
He just seems to have trouble third, fourth inning of games, second time around in orders.
And on the outside corner, 95. What away.
Let's see, Zimmerman. If he could tip his cap, if he would do that literally, he would have done it there, because this is a perfect pitch. And he knows it. After all those hooks, and you throw 95 there, I'll go back to the dugout. Time now for the Nissan keys to tonight's ball game. Well, you've got a really good pitcher out there in Gio Gonzalez. You just hope he doesn't have the hook the way that Strasburg did last night, because then he's really difficult. A new DP combo out there tonight. We'll talk about that a little more, why those guys are playing.
Bryce Harper's the batter. Harper swinging a miss at the first pitch. It was a changeup, 0-1. Harper last night 1 for 3 as Gio Gonzalez sits and waits for a chance to face one of his old teams, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Harper finally talked last night, or they talked about him, that his hip's bothering. Now you know why he can't run. Tell something was wrong.
Davey Johnson said after the ball game he was a little upset that he didn't find out about the hip until right before the game. But Harper did tell some of the veterans, according to some of the newspapers in Washington, that he is able to play. May not be playing at 100%, but is able to play.
Now you know what that conversation between him and Worth was last night.
Swing and a miss. Inside is retired. That was the slider. Or maybe a changeup. No, it was a changeup. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Ethan Martin. Pretty good way to start. We'll go to the bottom of the first, and here comes Gio Gonzalez. At Gio Gonzalez, but it's his 7th start overall against him. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at second base, Cesar Hernandez. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, bats second. Kevin Frandsen hits third, followed by Carlos Ruiz and Darren Ruff. Cody Ashe's the third baseman. He'll bat sixth. In the bottom third of Mayberry, Martinez, and Ethan Martin. And they will face Nationals left-hander Gio Gonzalez. Win-loss wise, Wheels, it hasn't been a great year. ERA is a little higher than he's used to. He has some really good numbers, though, if you look across the board.
Right, especially why you see some of the left-handed hitters aren't playing tonight. 191 left-handed hitters hit off this guy, and he's a big-time strikeout pitcher. More strikeouts than innings pitched, probably too many walks. That's one of the ways you can beat him, is to try and get him to get a little bit wild. And with his curveball, he's getting it over. He's very, very difficult. 3-pitch pitcher since the All-Star break, 1 and 3. But as you mentioned, Tommy pitched really well his last time out.
Last time out, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts against the Miami Marlins. He had a rough first few innings and then really cruised after that. Hernandez shows bunt, takes a strike. It's 0-1. Hernandez was 0 for 3 last night, but his walk was pointed out by a number of players after last night's ball game as being one of the key at-bats in the game.
Yeah, the old 2-out walk in a 1-run game. Yeah, so many times that can come back to haunt you, especially late in a ball game, and it did for the Nationals. He was very happy about that at bat with Sandberg.
He was very happy about that at bat. He was very happy about Jimmy Rollins' at bats.
Yeah, he really liked Jimmy's energy in that inning and the things that he was able to do. And course, that slide was tremendous. You don't teach what he did. That's just instinct.
2-2 to Hernandez. Hernandez at 309 at AAA this year. So far in the big leagues, hitting just 226.
They're ready to drop that hook on him, but I don't know that he'd do a 3-2 to the leadoff batter.
They threw him a fastball on a half-hearted swing by Cesar Hernandez. It may have been ball 4, and there's one away.
Yeah, he's trying to hold up because that pitch is out of the strike zone. It's real high. No way that's a strike, and he knew it at the last split second, but he can't hold up.
So Cesar's retired. Here's Freddie Galvis. Galvis makes his return to the big leagues, where this year he hit 207 with 4 home runs. He hit just 245 in AAA, but lately he was swinging the bat better. He was really struggling when he was sent down to the minor leagues. He made 36 starts for the Phillies before he was sent back down.
The thing he did have was extra base hits. He had 12 extra base hits, 4, 4, and 4, doubles, triples, homers.
The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Ian Sklarov of Berwyn, Pennsylvania. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Ian will win $200. Check swing. Did he go? No. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And there is that curveball from Gio Gonzalez, which is the strikeout pitch for him.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gonzalez. With the breaking ball, and there are 2 outs. And that'll bring Kevin Franzen to the plate. I mentioned that Gio Gonzalez struggled somewhat in his last start early on. He didn't allow any runs, but he wound up walking 3 against the Marlins. It was a game that was played down in South Florida, his hometown. And about the 2nd inning or 3rd inning, he went into the clubhouse, and Soriano was in there before he walked out to the bullpen, which is, I guess he's like a lot of closers. He sits and waits and then goes out. Soriano gave him a few words of advice and said, you know, your upper half is leading. You need to stay back and then come to the plate. Gonzalez took that advice, put on a new jersey because the other one was drenched, and came out and retired 14 of the next 15 hitters.
Nothing like having a pitching coach in the bullpen who's still in the clubhouse.
2-0 to Franzen.
Well, that's the way you beat this guy. You hope he gets a little bit wild, because it's not like you get a lot of hits off him, but he will get wild and walk hitters. That's the way the Phillies have dealt with him, but they haven't had much luck with him. When he gets wild, he's all over the place too. It's like he does have trouble with his delivery and repeating it.
There's ball 4. Franzen was taken all the way. So a 2-out walk will bring Carlos Ruiz to the plate. During the 2013 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs.
2 of their pitchers have great numbers against the Phillies this year, Strasburg and Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 193 his earned run average in 2 starts. Strasburg saw how good he was last night. He's hardly given them anything.
Franzen being held on by LaRoche over at first. Carlos 2 for 3 last night. He had 2 RBIs, including the big one at the end of the game. And he takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
You always have to stay alert at first base too when you're on the bases with Gonzalez, because he'll bounce a curveball, and when he bounces them, they're hard to block. They are spinners.
There's a curveball, and that's in for strike 1.
Base stealers 11 out of 14 against him this year. Probably a lot of that is because they're going to run on breaking balls. And his times are kind of slow too.
Certainly doesn't help the catcher, in this case Wilson Ramos, who's thrown out just 24% of the runners who have tried to steal this year.
Right, and when you know his best pitch is that curveball, you have to call it, but you don't like to call it in running situations. He's gotten out of whack. He couldn't have been much better on the first two hitters, although actually could have walked the leadoff batter, Hernandez, if he hadn't swung at that pitch. And then all of a sudden he can get wild. There's Darren Ruffalo, and Deco hit a homer off him last time here.
Oh, Ruiz got a good pitch to hit. He fouled it back. This is the third 3-ball count of the first inning for Gio Gonzalez. And LaRoche is signaling to Gonzalez that he is going to play behind Kevin Franzen. Three-two pitch. Fouled back. It remains 3-2. Threw a fastball. Back-to-back fastballs.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he'd go 3-2 hook here with Ruff on deck, who's hurt him a little bit. Now they decide, the pitcher and the catcher decide, all right, is he on our fastball right now? And that may sometimes change your mind.
They throw him another fastball. That one was a tick higher than the other two.
Yeah, and whether or not they would think those swings mean that he's on it, that's what they have to determine, and that would sometimes make it go to something else. Really don't want to walk another batter here with a guy like Ruff on deck, because we've said it's hurt him.
Ruff is 3 for 5 against Gonzalez, including that home run. This is a good at bat from Ruiz. Let's see if it can produce a base hit.
Fastball in.
Franzen goes, pitches inside, ball 4, and now first and second. After 2 strikeouts, he's issued 2 walks. First inning is where Gonzalez has had his most problems. He's allowed 16 first inning runs in 27 starts this year.
That's not unusual for many very good starting pitchers. They will give up runs in the first inning, and then you don't get much after that. Good night to hit the ball the other way for a right-handed hitter with the way the wind is.
Darren Ruff overall hitting .254. Surprisingly, though, he has struggled against left-handed pitching. He's hitting .156 against left-handers, close to .300 against right-handers. The 0-1 pitch in the dirt, 1-1. Three balls and 1 strike.
4 hitters in this inning, 3-ball counts.
Cody Ashe, the first left-hander, first true left-hander, is on deck.
Oh, well, they did that on purpose tonight, staying away left-handed hitters against him. So those numbers, the way he is against lefties.
Check swing, foul ball. It's 3-2. So the runners will be off on this pitch.
Hitters, everybody on the side that happens to hate to see a guy get a check swing on a 3-1 fastball, because you're in charge. You're supposed to be looking in a zone, eliminating half a home plate.
Runners go. The 3-2. Hit out toward right center field. Span has a beat on it, and he makes the catch. That was hit down toward the end of the bat. And the side is retired. No runs, no hits, 2 men left. It's a 28 pitch first inning for Gio Gonzalez, and we'll head to the second. In the Washington Nationals, the final game of this 3-game series. Tickets are available as always by going to Phillies.com or by stopping by the box office. Pitching matchup is Jordan Zimmerman against Roy Halladay again tomorrow. Last time the Nationals will be here in Philadelphia. It's the last time you can boo the guy walking to the plate. There's Doc ready to go. Sitting in the middle of Doc and Kyle Kendrick, not Cliff Lee, is Dave Brundage, who is the manager of Lehigh Valley. He will be with the club for the rest of the season.
Kidding Ryan Sandberg about that tonight. So this time last year, that was you sitting out there. So boy, things happen fast in this business, or they can.
Jason Worth was 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. Player of the month in the month of July. Some people thought he had an opportunity to be the player of the month in the month of August. He's had a good year, even though he's missed 28 games because of injury. Hitting .320 with 21 home runs. Lays off 2-0.
Jason Worth saw a lot of his teammates swinging at bad balls in the first inning, and that's one thing he won't do. He won't go up there and chase a lot of bad pitches early. He'll stand up there and he'll see what a guy has. If you want to drop a 2-0 breaking ball on him, okay. That's what just happened.
There's a fastball, 2-2.
He's done a couple of those in good spots tonight.
Martin will not dilly-dally. He's ready to go. In fact, Worth asked for time because Martin's ready to fire. Oh, it hit him. Fastball hit him in the hand. Maybe it hit that wrist guard that he has on there.
Sounded like it hit that pad, because I don't know that he's not hurt if he didn't have that pad on as hard as that pitch was coming at him. Oh, it did hit his arm. Wow. Right below the pad. Sounded like it made that thump sound off that pad.
Maybe he got a piece of it and then got the skin too. Throws over to chase Worth back.
Hard to believe that one wouldn't take you to a deep knee bend at least.
And Desmond's the batter. Desmond was 1 for 4 yesterday. Worth has stolen 7 bases. He's been caught once.
That's the first batter
that he's hit.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing when you consider he's been a little bit wild at times.
He kind of guided that curveball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
It was a terrific play by Carlos Ruiz to prevent an advance.
Two and one, another breaking pitch. That was a slider. Last outing, Martin, who's picked up 2 strikeouts already, had 9 strikeouts in those 4 innings. It's his highest total minor leagues and major leagues this year. So he can punch some guys out. He got in on the hands of Ian Desmond, who hits it to the left side of the infield.
Well, that's what he tried to do to Worth before he hit him. Throw inside like that.
1 away. Adam LaRoche is coming up. A lot of youngsters coming up here to the big leagues today, joining the Phils, and a couple of youngsters getting a pretty nice honor. Let's go to Murph for more on that. Murph.
All right, thanks very much, Tom. Yeah, as you mentioned, a couple of extra bodies on the bench today down here in the Phillies dugout, as it often is in September, some of the call-ups and coaches as well. And also, as you mentioned, the Phillies announcing today the Paul Owens Award winners, which are for the best position player and pitcher in minor league baseball in their system. It is our Kia minor league report. You see Michael Franco. We've talked about him all year. What a season he had at both single A and double A. 320, 31 home runs. He had 36 doubles and 103 RBIs. And Severino Gonzalez, he's a right-handed pitcher, was named the pitcher of the year, 7-5 with an ERA of 2. He struck out 119 batters in 103 and 2/3 innings. So congratulations to both of those young guys, and Phillies fans should be keeping their eyes on those two as they make their way through the system, no doubt.
Yeah, Murph, considering all the young pitching the Phillies have, including the guy on the mound right now, Ethan Martin, who won 11 games down in the minor leagues. That's a great honor for Severino, who's from Panama. And the fact that he's made 1 start in double A and pitched very well in that 1 start, that says an awful lot for what his future is going to be in this organization.
Yeah, Wheels, you can go back and look at the winners of these awards in past years. You can go back 15, 20 years, and a lot of the names on that list have made an impact in the big league. So these are guys to watch in the minor league system, no doubt about it.
Well, absolutely, Murph. We had a lot of them up in the booth over the years, too, to talk to them, and it's always fun then later on to see them in spring training and get to know them a little bit and see them progress to the major leagues. Those 2 kids have, well, those are very, very good numbers.
Well, it's 3-1 Adam LaRoche, and LaRoche takes inside, ball 4. So that'll put 2 runners on here in the second. A hit batter and a walk. And it'll bring Wilson Ramos to the plate.
This is what happens, unfortunately, with Ethan Martin. All of a sudden, he gets into certain hitters, he'll throw a lot of pitches, and then his pitch count starts to go up. And Rich Doobie sees something right away that he wants to talk to him about, so he's going to come out. That's really another thing about a pitching coach and the timing involved. When you go out there, when don't you go out there, when you have to talk to somebody, when you leave them alone. You only get the 1 trip. A lot of it is knowing your pitcher's psyche.
Some of these young guys, sometimes they need to be coached through a game.
Right, and a lot of times you have to talk to them in the dugout. Or preferably what they like to do is when their outing is over or the next day. And don't go out on the mound a lot of times and start talking about mechanics to them.
So with 1 out, runners on first and second. Ramos, who was 0 for 4 yesterday, and Papelbon had a big strikeout against Ramos in last night's ball game.
He might get after a first pitch here.
And he delivers low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Out towards center field. On the run is Martinez. That one is over his head and out of the ballpark. Just to the right of the 398 sign. It's a 3-run home run, and the Nationals take the lead. That ball looked like it got up into a jet stream.
Well, it is out there. That's where it's going to carry, to right and right center. And you could see when it went up, it started going to the right immediately and just kept going as the wind took it. He hit it well. It was going to be an extra base hit. Normally this won't be a home run, but that's a problem. You fall behind major league hitters, and then you throw a fastball down the middle, and that baby's right on the barrel to a good hitter with strength, and it just takes off when it gets out. Look at the wind take it, and there it goes.
See it pinballed around that corner out there just to the right of the 398 sign. So a 3-run home run for Ramos. It's his 10th of the year, and Anthony Rendon is the batter. Rendon takes a fastball for strike one. Rendon was 1 for 4 yesterday.
Hit batter and a walk right before the home run.
That one's out toward right. Mayberry, though, is there. And there are 2 outs. Gio Gonzalez is next up for the Nationals. Get Philly sports news and scores when you're on the go. Be the first to know the latest on all your Philly teams. Right from your smartphone. Download the free CSN Philly Sports app today. Well, now with 2 outs, Gio Gonzalez, who is a 114 hitter. He does have a home run. 5 for 44. Hits that one out towards center field. Martinez going from alley to alley. We'll get to it and makes the catch. And the side is retired. But there was a big blow. It was a 3-run home run by Wilson Ramos here in the second. We go to the bottom of the second. Cody Ashe will lead it off when we return. And under, thanks to the folks at the New Jersey Education Association, who will receive the Ben Revere Growth Chart. You can purchase tickets for that ball game by going to Phillies.com. And the kids at the Horace Mann Elementary School in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, well, as part of Back to School Week in New Jersey, they were surprised by Ben Revere today after they got themselves sized up on his growth chart. There's Ben getting a chance to say hi to some of the kids. They were pretty excited, obviously. Scott Palmer was emceeing. There were growth charts everywhere, and they were excited to see Ben, but they were also very excited to see the Fanatic help them kick off the 2013 school year.
Someone who has never grown up.
Someone who has never grown up. That must have been pretty neat. The kids are either excited or dreading the fact that they were going back to school, and they have that nice, pleasant surprise.
Pretty cool. Ben shows up full uni like that.
Nice to see Ben walking around the ballpark. We talked about that yesterday. We took some batting practice yesterday inside. Here's Cody Ashe. He'll lead it off here in the bottom of the second. Ashe Did not play yesterday, played the day before after tweaking his hamstring in Chicago.
It's be a good challenge for him to face a guy like this from the left side.
See if Gonzalez is a little different now with the 3-run lead and getting the first inning out of his way. So far, no. It's 2-0.
Well, he threw a 3-2 changeup to Darren Ruff in the first inning, and he hit that thing off the end of the bat into center field for the final out. It was a very good pitch that he threw when you consider fastball count, if there ever was one.
Ball's pulled foul. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Huh.
That expression.
Gold, Jerry. It's gold.
It looks like. May as well be.
Oh, another 3-ball count.
5 of them.
That is a lot, right? Through the first 6 bats.
Yeah, and to have no runs. And then that would have been 3-ball counts. They've been 3-1 and 3-2s. I mean, a great catch off to the left.
Did. He cut in front of another guy who, I don't know if that guy minded or not, but he made a great grab.
And he wanted as much.
That one's pulled through the hole on the right side. The first hit for the Phils as she's aboard as we start the second. And that'll bring John Mayberry to the plate.
Nice job by Cody Ashley there. Got into a fastball count. He got a fastball to hit. He didn't throw him curveballs on that at bat. He has a 3-run lead. He's near the bottom of the order now. Just threw him fastballs. Got himself a base hit off a tough left-hander.
Well, now John Mayberry, who has struggled lately, he's 0 for his last 15. He was 0 for 3 in yesterday's game. His average has dropped down to 231. A reminder to those of you who are interested, tonight's game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box. To your right is Ricky Ricardo. In the middle with the red jacket is Bill Kulick. And then Angel is off to your left. He is not on the air as of yet, but he will slide in eventually to call tonight's ball game.
Pretty cool. It says baseball.
Two balls and no strikes. Popped him up. Foul territory, third base side. And Ramos says he's got it. One away. I think John's been doing that a lot lately. And with one out, it brings Michael Martinez up. Martinez hitting 167. Martinez had a very good year down in AAA. He's just never really been able to allow those numbers to dictate success on the major league level. Certainly he's had a number of opportunities. No balls and one strike. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Well, you're seeing so much of him. He's a smaller guy with a long swing, and that normally doesn't equate to success up here.
Getting a chance to play center field tonight. A couple of the regulars getting the night off, like Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins, so that's kind of changed the alignment of this lineup. He pulls that one foul just past Juan Samuel. And it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's Chase playing tonight against the lefty. Ryan Sandberg did say that he is going to use September to see some of the younger kids, that Chase and Jimmy Rollins may get some additional days off as this season winds down. 2-2 to Martinez. Over to third. That might be 2. Zimmerman with his flip to second for 1. And it is an around the horn double play. 5-4-3. Phillies do get their first hit of the night. It was a single by Cody Asche. But the double play finishes up the bottom of the second. And we'll head to the third. To the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. Wills, the question is, which college baseball team did Cody Asche play for? I do believe you have a layup.
Yeah, I was talking some sports with him the other day about his college.
We go to the top of the third. Denard Span, Ryan Zimmerman, Bryce Harper.
He's very, very proud of his university. So is B.J. Rosenberg of Louisville. Louisville, as they say there.
Louisville.
Louisville. Why not? Louisville's had some pretty good teams in a lot of sports.
They also have pretty good players coming in this year to try to defend their national title in basketball. Denard Span grounded out his first time up. 3-0 Washington. Hits that one off the end of the bat. That'll drop in for a hit. So that's a 16-game hitting streak for Span. And he's aboard to start the third.
Span read something the other day that he says Rick Shoes helped him out a little bit in a certain approach, and Rick's a new hitting coach over here, and whether or not that stuff helps or it hurts or doesn't mean anything, who knows. But in Rick Shoes' case, he's a very quality person and a quality instructor, and they decided to make a change, and he'll do a good job for them because he'll work hard.
Zimmerman takes low.
It's the way he played the game and the way he'll do this. One of the most gifted player, but boy, did he work hard.
Took over for Rick Eckstein, and Davey Johnson wasn't too pleased that Rick Eckstein was sent packing. he felt like Rick did an excellent job with his team, but a lot of times that happens. The team is underachieving. The Nationals certainly underachieved. You make changes to the coaching staff if you're not going to make changes to the manager. Zimmerman bounces that foul, 2-1.
So many times it's so hard to change a lot of the players, so you change the coaches. Like it's their fault, and it rarely is, but sometimes a new face can help. New approach.
Popped him up. Right side of the infield, Cesar Hernandez following the wind makes the catch. And that'll bring Harper to the plate. Harper struck out his first at bat. 2 strikeouts so far for Ethan Martin through the first 2.5 innings. On the inside corner, 0-1.
Yeah, you've seen that really Ethan Martin tonight in just a few innings, the good and the bad of what can happen. Electric stuff, can get hitters out, and then all of a sudden get a little bit wild, throw a home run ball. 3 runs. And that's why they're just not sure where they're going to go with it, because there's a lot to work with there, and there's a lot of potential and a lot of talent. And you talked to Ryan about him, and he says, hey, we're all watching, and we're going to figure something out with him. He said he's going to help us figure it out.
I always wonder, though, with the lack of command at times, can he be a back end of a bullpen guy?
That's the whole point. And maybe he doesn't start out that way. Maybe he starts out in the bullpen and earns that role. Those are all the things they're talking about now.
1 ball, 1 strike to Harper. Off the end of the bat, Martin's got it. Goes to second for 1, and that's all they'll get. Good slide by Span.
Freddie Galvis is really athletic, but he just didn't have time because of Span's quickness. That's a slower runner. He's going to get rid of this thing, even though it's not a very good throw. You see, he's already got himself in real good throwing position. He's going to come in low and throw it, but here comes Span, gets him up in the air. Put in your pocket. 2 outs. Give Span credit for keeping the inning alive. They practice that play so much, so Ethan Martin gives him a throw up near his face, up in the letters area near his face. He turns a double play there, but he has to reach down, and that takes time. And as a result, it gets disrupted by a fast runner. If you give him a better throw, he leads him across the bag and he gets away from Span, and that all depends on the pitcher.
One ball, 1 strike to Worth, and now time is called. Out toward left center field. That'll stay in the yard by a wide margin. Michael Martinez makes the catch. The other side is retired here in the 3rd. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We've played 2.5 on to the bottom of the 3rd. Phillies trail it by 3. Ford stores. Go further. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Nissan. Don't miss Nissan's bottom line sales event and holiday bonus cash. Shop ChooseNissan.com. 3-0 Washington as we begin the home third. Ethan Martin will lead it off. He's still looking for his first major league hit. 0 for 7, and it's 0-1.
He's aggressive up there. It looks like he's going to get a hit or two. Looks like he wants to hit.
Told you, Wheels, power hitting third baseman.
Right.
High school.
Right.
And pitcher, of course.
Well, there's a reason he's a pitcher.
Because he throws 95?
The power probably wasn't quite the same after he left high school.
That is true.
That happens a lot. Aluminum bats help too.
Swing and a miss. It's a pretty good swing.
That's what I mean. Sooner or later they're going to hit his bat a few times.
3 strikeouts for Gonzalez. Well, it's time now to take a look at our Mazda leaders. And tonight the leaders, the best records in the National League since the 1st of August, which I guess you could say that's rather surprising that the Nationals are 17-12, third best record. But you know, the Braves have just been so good at home that you just can't catch them.
No, they're runaway this year. Just amazing season they've had. Now they have to see how it equates to postseason. He always has a good season.
Pretty good screen. Hernandez fouls it back 0-2. Chopper over toward the left side. Desmond charges, bare hands, throws in time.
Big time play.
That is a big time defensive play.
Oof. Hernandez can run a little bit too, so either bare hands that or he's safe, because he's not going to transfer and get it, or the odds are he won't.
That's a guy that Rich Doobie, the Phillies pitching coach, has seen play since he was a kid, growing up near Sarasota.
Right, he's from the Sarasota. Look at that. That's LaRoche will help him too over there. Big hands. Look how he's able to reach and stop the spin and then get a lot on the throw, and then helped over there a little bit by a very good defensive first baseman.
2 outs for Freddie Galvis. He takes outside 1-0. Galvis struck out his first time up. Once asked Rich Doobie about Ian Desmond if he thought that he would be a professional player. I didn't ask if he'd be a major league player. He said, yeah, I thought he would. He goes, I wasn't sure if he'd be a shortstop or a center fielder, though.
He's that athletic if he could play either one.
Yeah. That ball's lined to left field. It's right at Harper. And that'll do it for the Phillies here in the third. They go down in order. Pretty easy inning for Gio Gonzalez. It's the easiest of the night. We've played our first 3 with the Nats up by 3. know WB Mason carries the products you need to clean your business? WB Mason now specializes in delivering an all-star selection of janitorial supplies same day. 3 in the Bucks. We go to the 4th. Ian Desmond will lead it off. It'll be Desmond, Adam LaRoche, and Wilson Ramos for the Nationals, who took a 3-0 lead thanks to a 3-run home run by Ramos back in the 2nd. So Ethan Martin goes back to work. First pitch is outside. It's 1-0. Sounded like he may have shattered his bat. It's going to hang up there for Mayberry. With 1 away here in the 4th, it'll bring LaRoche to the plate. Sarge, last night we wondered after 7 innings why Cole Hamels was lifted from the game. He had pitched so well. And as it turns out, Cole was not feeling all that well before the ball game. Rich Doobie said he didn't have a particularly good bullpen before the game, so they were hoping to get, well, they just wanted to get as much as they could out of Cole. And I don't know if they envisioned 7 innings, but for some reason, as Cole said, hey, sometimes when you have the flu or you're not feeling well, you kind of bear down. And that's what he did last night. So that's why he only went 7 innings and threw 87 pitches.
Yeah, you're right. Almost might have been a blessing because that changeup that he was throwing threw that a lot softer. He might have found something there from now on, making sure that he doesn't throw it as hard. You throw it harder, what happens? The changeup stays up. But when you throw it down, he had a lot of movement last night there, and the effort was just unbelievable. And Ryan Sandberg really wanted him to leave, you know, with a good note, good taste in his mouth.
That ball was scorched, and it's a fair ball. It's off the half wall down the right field line. LaRoche trying for 2. The throw is not in time. It just died on the bounce a little bit. And LaRoche hustles for just his 2nd hit in his last 19 plate appearances.
Yep, nothing you can do about that. Once it hits that little railing, take a look at it. It's just hooking all the way.
Good call.
Once it hits that railing there, now he comes up. Still made a pretty good throw there. Bang, bang. That's because LaRoche just not a fast runner. See whether or not he got in there, barely getting his hand right in there from that particular shot.
That was an awfully close play. It was the right call by Gary Darling, but boy, it was a close play. So now Ramos, who homered his last time up. 3rd hit for the Nationals. Little pop-up, shallow right. Hernandez, he's pretty quick. He'll give way to Mayberry, who came in and took charge. 2 outs.
Pretty nice running catch right there. You know, nice adjustment, too, by Martin. Fastball last time, hit it out of the ballpark, but that was an outside pitch. Martin comes in and jams him with that inside pitch. Same pitch, though, fastball. That one up and in.
Well, now they're going to walk Rendon to face Gio Gonzalez. If this was tomorrow night and Roy Halladay was on the mound, they wouldn't be doing this, right?
Well, as far as in walking
at this point in the game,
Roy probably would not, because he's more of a veteran pitcher. But what he would do, he would go out and start to throw and see if he fell behind. Now maybe he would go on and tend to walk him. But you know, your number 1 pitchers, they don't really like walking anyway. I think it's the right move. You got the pitcher coming up next.
Thought that was ball 4. Yep, it was. Rendon was hoping that the Phillies would change their mind. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years. Keep up with the pennant races and catch the rest of the 2013 season in HD quality. Watch every at a market game live on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV today. So here is Gio. He popped out, or flied out, I should say, to center his first time up.
Still got to be careful. Just He's got to pitch him like he's a regular player.
Now he certainly has to pitch him like he's a regular player because he's fallen behind 2-0.
Throws the fastball, should be, or whatever pitch, it should be one he feels comfortable with and one he can throw a strike with. Like he was trying to hit a home run. That's what happens. You swing too hard, you end up hurting your back.
Galvis will throw out Gonzalez for the final out here in the fourth. So no runs, one hit, two men left. Looks like Gio Gonzalez did hurt his back a little bit. We go to the bottom of the fourth. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Nationals lead at 3-0. A three-run home run by Wilson Ramos. That's the difference right now as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Sarge, what do you think he did on this swing?
Well, I'm thinking he swung too hard. But he went and started running, though. I mean, and that was a pitch before that he had swung at. Actually swung and missed on it, but you can see he was kind of running a little gingerly.
He's looking like he's walking with a little bit of a limp. He was very slow to go out to the mound and start his warm-up tosses for this inning. He's out there now and just completed those tosses. He'll face Kevin Franzen, Carlos Ruiz, and Darren Ruff here in the home fourth. 3-zip Nationals. Game 2 of this series tomorrow. Jordan Zimmerman against Roy Halladay. 7:05 start before the off day on Thursday.
This is a time of year when your team is actually trying to get in the playoffs. You know, those little nagging injuries, you want to try and go on and play through them. Get a lot of respect from your teammates as long as you're not going to hurt yourself any further.
Well, for Kevin Franzen, that ends an 0 for 10 stretch. A leadoff single. Carlos walked in his first plate appearance. He's hitting 300 since his return from the disabled list after a hamstring problem.
Oh, he's hitting with a lot of confidence now. Not panicking once he gets 2 strikes on him. Even the veteran players, every now and then, especially the ones that can hit, got to remind them you're still a pretty good hitter.
There's a pop-up. Rendon on the run, tries to make the sliding attempt. He can't hang on. I was wondering where LaRoche was. I guess LaRoche figured, you know what, I'm not going to get there, so I'll just let him try.
Oh, yeah. And really, that would be the best thing. That way you can just go at it yourself. No one else to be around you to bother you. That's a play, too, though. When you're not running there on your balls of your foot, the ball is going to move. He has it, has a bead on it, but it actually hits him right there in the palm. That's why you got to run there on the palms there, and that way the ball doesn't bounce on you.
Ground ball to third. Zimmerman backs up, bobbles, picks it up, pumps once, nobody. He's not going to get anybody, so everybody's safe, and that puts runners on first and second. You got what I'm saying, Sarge?
Yeah, oh yeah. Matter of fact, though, on that, I'd like that play there to be a hit for him. Even though that top spin that Carlos had on his home cooking there, see, that ball kind of really eats him up there. Even if he catches it the way he's been throwing these days, who knows if he's able to get that ball to all the way over there to first base.
Well, they scored E5, and that puts runners on first and second.
No home cooking?
Nope. Darren Ruff takes strike one. It's 0-1.
Don't think he could have played that any other way. He had to back up on it. He's trying to pick out his hop.
That ball gets away, and both runners will move up. They scored a wild pitch. No, base hit. The Phils are within one. Well, they have a chance to be within one. I shouldn't say that Ruiz is definitely going to score.
Well, that's that breaking ball, hard breaking ball. He tried to get in front of it. Ball just kept biting on the inside and then bouncing away. You want to make sure, too, though, no matter what, you advance the runner when you drive in this run. So, therefore, you need to try and hit that ball to the right side. Well, he's back in the mode there. He can look for his pitch and be able to drive it somewhere. If he gets the 2 strikes, you can think about hitting it the other way. Get a chance to see whether or not the guys really know how to play the game. The younger guys that are coming up. Get that ball to the right side. You got an RBI. Carlos goes over to third. Good eye.
Swing and a miss. A little indecisive on that swing. It may have been ball 4. But it's a strikeout for Gonzalez, his 4th. And still runners on second and third now for Ashe.
That's a real good point. See what this pitch is, and it's just a changeup. He looked like he threw him at the last minute. Darren knew that that pitch was a ball. By then, it's just too late. It's a hard pitch to stay off of. Gives you that fastball arm motion, and then that changeup comes floating in.
There's a curve for a strike to Ashe, who singled his first time up. It's one of 2 hits the Phillies have picked up in this game.
Well, got to have some contact somewhere on this at bat. And keep it in the middle of the field. You can get an RBI. This is where this pitcher becomes, Gio, becomes so tough, especially on left-handers, boy.
Back toward the middle. That'll sneak into center. Base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Ruiz. He's heading home. The throw to the plate. Cut off by LaRoche. It's a 1-run game. And Cody Ashe, the only left-hander in the lineup, has 2 hits. It's a 3-2 ball game.
Give him a lot of credit. This is after 2 breaking balls he looked really silly on. What's he get? You stay on the fastball and adjust right up the middle. We've talked about that before. Good things are happening. Chooch comes sliding in, and there it is. 1 run down. Fighting Field's coming back.
And that'll leave it for Mayberry with a runner at first base.
Well, it's got to make Darren Ruff feel a lot better as he picks up his teammate. That's what it's all about. Don't understand that pitch though by Gio. After you throw those 2 breaking balls, now all of a sudden you want to go on and throw that fastball. He didn't get it in, and he paid for it. Now, usually Mayberry has pretty good swings against left-handed pitching. Not a guy you want to try and pull. Stay right in there and take what he gives you. Frustrating feeling when you know you should be having better swings against a pitcher and it's not happening for you.
Now the 0-2 pitch coming to Mayberry. Oh, nope, they're going to step over to first. And Ashe's back.
Whether or not he comes right at him with a strike or get out of the zone.
Change up right on the inside part of the plate. 5 strikeouts for Gonzalez. There were 2 outs. Michael Martinez is coming up. Martinez grounded into a double play his only time against Gonzalez.
Joe kind of teases the hitters a little bit. Just doesn't always come right at them. Got to be really patient to hit a guy like this. Can't be afraid either to hit with 2 strikes on you. Especially up to 2 strikes. You want to get your pitch. Good balance might help you as well.
I'm with Martinez. I thought that pitch was off the plate.
Yeah.
But close enough for Paul Emmel to call it a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I thought that was off the plate, but he goes. Gio will throw that ball in and out, you know, up and down. Looks like he wants to throw that curveball.
And he does, and a swing and a miss, and the side is retired. 6 strikeouts for Gonzalez. He strikes out 3 in the inning, but the Phillies also get a couple runs. Cody Ashe's 2-run single pulls the Phils to within 1. We've played 4. It's the Nationals 3 and the Phillies 2. Expectations for the upcoming Eagles season and his new role at Comcast Sportsnet. All that and more on Philly Sports Talk, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Brian Westbrook's Villanova squad did a heck of a job this past weekend against Boston College. They didn't win the ball game, but they certainly turned some heads. Year in and year out, they always have an outstanding program. We begin the fifth, and Art Span will lead it off. He's 1 for 2. He's grounded out. He's also singled. And the first pitch from Ethan Martin. Fouled away. It's 0-1. Sarge, I saw you chatting with Davey Johnson today before the Nationals took batting practice. What's Davey have to say about his club at this point?
Well, he still kind of likes his chances. Obviously, haven't given up at all. Talked about some of the injuries and not using that as an excuse.
He has continued to say that this is his final year, his 17th as a Major League manager.
Yeah. And mention about Bryce Harper. You guys talked about that earlier, his hip, but not only that, his leg.
That one's pulled toward the corner. That's going to be an extra base hit. Span can run, so Mayberry has to hurry. Although Span cools his jets and pulls into second with a leadoff double.
Yeah, I thought he broke that down a little bit too soon for me. Take a look at it. This ball down, and he really gets all over the ball. Might be better throwing this guy fastballs. He swings a little late on him, but has that all the way. Automatic double. That ball goes down the line for the guys that can run.
Well, I mentioned Span has a 16-game hitting streak that he extended to 16 tonight in the third. He's raised his average from 258 on the 26th of July, 20 points to where it is right now. Although I think they would term him somewhat of a disappointment offensively. I mean, he's had a good month, but he's not everything that they expected he would be offensively. Defensively, he's been brilliant. Yeah, defensively, he's had a great year. Offensively, I mean, just in terms of being on base a little bit more, hitting better is what they're talking about. Zimmerman goes the other way. Hernandez makes the play on one hop. One away, Span the third.
Can't tell you how great a play that was. Again, making that look easy. Off balance some and being able to stay right there on his feet. Good defense. Give credit too to Ryan Zimmerman. That's how you play the game. Hitting the ball to the right side. Take a look at this as he catches that right in the web there. Almost took him down. Once he had it, though, he knew he had plenty of time. Has a good, strong arm.
So Span's at third. Bryce Harper's up. Harper's 0 for 2. Struck out his first time. Fielder's choice his last time. In the dirt, Ruiz keeps it to his left. 1-0.
You saw yesterday when Harper actually wasn't running all the way, and Jason Worth went over there and was talking with him. Asked him, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "Yes." And he says, "Okay, you got to play through these injuries, and young guys." And I think it's good. It's a real good lesson because you don't normally play as many games as you play right now throughout your career and coming up. A lot of ball games you play day in and day out. You're going to have nagging injuries. Jason was just telling him how important it is and how much they need him to be able to stay there in the lineup. And I think he would know something about an injury or two. He's had plenty throughout his career. I would think he'd be swinging 3-0. Make sure if he does swing that it is your pitch.
All 4, so Harper's aboard. That'll bring Jason Worth to the plate. Let's check in with Murph. Murph?
Well, guys, in watching Ethan Martin continue his growth in Major League Baseball, so many times we talk about these young players and having to gain confidence. I was having a conversation with Phillies pitching coach Rich Doobie about that topic, and Ethan Martin in particular, and he said, it is part of it for him because you sit and you watch him and you know he has the stuff, but, sometimes it's being able to succeed at this level for a couple of times before you really start to believe in yourself. And Rich was saying he has to be almost part psychiatrist and psychologist with these guys, and he was explaining that some of the best pitchers in baseball history have started very slow. He named two of them, Greg Maddux, who was just like 6-18 in his first 2 years, and Tom Glavine, who lost 17 games in his second year in Major League Baseball. So he wants to point out to Ethan and to the other young guys that success can come if you continue to work at it, and just point out those examples as just two guys who made it happen after struggling early on.
Well, I think the guy that's even next to Rich Doobie in the dugout, Roy Halladay.
Sure.
He's another guy that started out slow with his career.
Sure did.
Well, you watched it, Sarge.
Yeah, sure did. Made him go out and work harder.
Popped him up. Franzen has a play. Foul territory. 2 outs. Well, I think that's part of it, Murph, what you just saw. That was a pretty good pitch to Jason Worth that he was able to get him to pop it up and record the second out.
Yeah, that's the pitch he wanted. Tied him up on a fastball that would be inside. Jason has long arms. Take a look at it as the ball comes right in. Side there on him. That's a pitch there that he felt that he could have maybe handled just a little bit late, however, in swinging at it. Good pitch, though. Could have been in a little bit more, but he'll take that pop-up any day of the week with runners on first and third and 1 out.
He and Desmond take strike 1. I also think this is an interesting time for Rich Doobie, too, because there are so many young pitchers that have come up these last couple of years. What was a seasoned staff from top to bottom with maybe 1 or 2 youngsters is now a totally different staff. You got some seasoned guys, but for the most part, there are a lot of young kids out there throwing.
Yeah, and the younger the pitcher you have, the more teaching you have to do. You never stop teaching, even on this level. You've seen things, or different players do different things, variety of different things that you have to address them.
And you know what, guys, it's so interesting from my seat where I sit near the end of the games at the end of the dugout, just watching Rich work with some of the young pitchers. Each guy that comes out of a game, whether he had a good outing or a bad outing, Rich will go over and have a conversation with them. Sometimes a very stern conversation, sometimes a very gentle conversation, depending, I think, on the pitcher and the situation. So, for him, juggling the time and place, when to lay into a guy and give him a message and when to back off because he thinks he needs it, it's very interesting to watch, just juggling those personalities. Same thing a manager has to do with his position players.
Well, it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ian Desmond. Down and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No, that's a real good point, too, though, because you have to talk to different guys different ways. The main thing for any coach, manager, for me, is to get the best ability out of each and every one of the players. And how you do it is up to your own teaching methods. Some days, for me, I would wait until the next day before I would address the guy swinging at a ball in the dirt. I think everybody has their own style on trying to get the best ability out of the guys. You tell them to do a certain thing, whether or not to hold the ball a certain way or grip the bat. Boy.
Ruiz decided late to throw to second to try to get Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it almost looked like they were trying to draw the throw for maybe a double steal. Take a look at it as that ball comes, and he just limping in, I guess, or didn't appear like it was a straight steal at all, but he stole the base.
That's the 8th stolen base of the year. Well, now the count 3 balls and 2 strikes, and that foul ball was a ferocious swing for me and Desmond.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He doesn't usually cut down his swing, even when he does have 2 strikes on him. Had a solid year at the plate, 20 home runs, 68 RBIs.
Outside ball 4, so the bases are loaded. A double and 2 walks. A couple pretty good pitches to Ryan Zimmerman and Jason Worth. But now Madame LaRoche is coming up. For years, StubHub has been the place to find great Phillies tickets. And this season, you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today. All right, big spot. Phillies scored 2 in the 4th, and now the Braves, or excuse me, Nationals have the bases loaded here in the 5th. Total pitches, 42 balls, 41 strikes.
Once he learns to throw more strikes, I mean, he throws hard enough, does have the arm to be successful here in the major leagues. Now he just has to find the control.
Can he find the control, Sarge?
Well,
seriously.
You know what? I mean, we've seen him and have such a really good arm. And when he's throwing strikes and getting a breaking ball over, he's almost impossible to hit. Just the opposite. Now you become predictable where you have to make a good pitch. That one's just off. He's going to take again. But what happens, too, for young guys, they start to get a little bit more nervous when they're on the mound there. Again, we've talked about this absolutely valuable time. You want to be able to win the ball game as that's ball 4. That's down.
That's going to force in a run. It's now a 4-2 ball game. 3rd walk of the inning issued by Ethan Martin.
Yeah, that just shouldn't happen. You got to be able to at least throw a strike. Kind of throw a strike where you want to.
Well, Ruiz is going out to keep him level-headed, but he's also trying to buy some time. Here comes Rich Doobie going to the phone. They've DeFreitas up right now. I guess DeFreitas is done and ready to go if they need him. And that's going to be it for Ethan Martin.
Yep. Those stall tactics to make sure that he's completely ready in the bullpen, and Rhino calls for him. So he gets right toward the line.
Well, it is about development, but it's also about winning some games, too. Ryan Sandberg out to get the ball from Ethan Martin. His night is done, 86 pitches. This is an AT&T call to the bullpen. 3 walks in this inning alone for Ethan Martin, and the Nats have a 2-run lead. Time to think about the Fanatic About Reading program. The program encourages students to read for 15 minutes a day to improve your literacy skills. The program provides free, fun incentives, including posters and bookmarks, and the chance to receive a literacy visit from the Fanatic himself. To be a Fanatic About Reading program presented by Comcast. For more information, email FanDev. That's fan development at Phillies.com. Well, Ethan Martin a little frustrated as he went off, and he is a very competitive kid, as we said, and tonight he goes 4 2/3, allows 4 hits, walks 5. Rich Doobie with a conversation as Justin DeFreitas takes over with Wilson Ramos at the plate, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
It's plain and simple. Got to be able to throw quality strikes, and not just this league, but even AAA, AA. It doesn't become magnified, however, until you get to the major leagues. But got to be able to throw strikes. It's just the name of the game.
Harper's at third, Desmond's at second, LaRoche at first. Wilson Ramos is homered tonight, a 3-run shot, and he's ahead 2-0. So he's going to get a fastball here. And he does, but it's outside 3-0. Ball 4. He walked him on 4 pitches. Another run crosses the plate. That's 4 walks in the inning. And it's now 5-2 in favor of the Nationals. And they only have 1 hit in the inning.
Yeah, well, what happens is that when you're not able to throw strikes, when you get a close one, umpire's not going to give it to you. It's just the way it is. You got to be around the plate in order to get pitches or strikes. Or call strikes, I should say.
Yeah, and this isn't about Paul Emmel at all, the home plate umpire.
No, not at all.
Here's Rendon. Now the 0-2 pitch coming to Rendon. Got him. Got him with a slider, and the side is retired. So after 4 straight balls, DeFreitas throws 3 straight strikes. He leaves them loaded. The Nationals get 2 runs back. We go to the bottom of the 5th. convene here at Citizens Bank Park for the start of a 3-game series. Tickets can be purchased for that 3-game set by going to Phillies.com or stopping by the box office here at Citizens Bank Park. Home half of the 5th inning. It's a 5-2 Nationals lead. Nationals have picked up only 4 hits today, but they've also walked 5 times. Gio Gonzalez, he's kind of been all over the place too, but he has a lead to work with, and he'll face Pete Orr, who will pinch hit for the Phils here in the 5th.
Well, you're right. He hasn't had his best stuff.
Mauricio Robles is warming in the pen. He was just added to the roster.
Getting a little crowded in that bullpen, huh?
It is. Going to have to get there early to get a spot where you can watch the game.
Well, they have their own spots, believe me now. Everybody sits where they have been. New guys are the ones that have to fend for themselves.
Adam LaRoche unable to pick that one up. It's no balls at 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Orr. Lays off, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pete Orr began his major league career in the Braves organization, but eventually moved on to the Nationals. He was with them when they really weren't a very good team. Ground ball back toward the middle and under the glove of Rendon, a base hit. Pete Orr with a pinch hit single. The Phillies have a base runner here in the 5th.
That's good hitting. Staying right on the breaking ball from a lefty to lefty. Especially after a strike or 2. This is how you hit a breaking ball. You know, get your load, going back, foot down. Hit the ball where it's pitched, going up the middle again. Good things happen.
Here's Cesar Hernandez. He's 0 for 2. And he fouls it back. It's 0-1.
That's the other thing, too, though. If you're not hitting that ball well, I mean, if you think trying to go up the middle, it's easier. There's a certain pitch that you can get to go up the middle. And that's not a ball that's going to be on the inside. It'll be middle away is the ball that you would be looking for, especially if you are in a slump. That way it'll make you concentrate a little bit more. A lot of times you'll have hitting coaches or coaches tell you, hey, hit the ball to right. No. You hit the ball up the middle. If you're a little bit late, try to hit it up the middle, guess what? The ball was going to go to right. So if you try and hit the ball to right, what's going to happen, you're going to drag your bat, and it's even going to be further late when you swing.
There's one back toward the middle, caught by Rendon. Not much you can do about that.
Nope.
And with 1 out, Freddie Galvis is coming up. A reminder, Sarge, the Powerball jackpot is up to $169 million. That's drawn on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And the Mega Million at $85 million is drawn on Tuesdays and Fridays. What would you do with $169 million, Sarge? Would you buy an island?
No, but I tell you what, I'll be taking care of a lot of my friends. Okay?
Appreciate that.
Friend? No, but I mean, I think that's the first thing you do. Give away, take care of some charity or some, maybe camps or whatever with kids or ill kids and so on. For me.
Would you think about buying into like a professional team?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Oh, no.
Freddie Galvis takes low and away. 1 ball and no strikes. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Brewers lead the Pirates 2-1. That game's in the bottom of the second. Sarge, the Pirates are trying to get to their 81st win. Trying to get to 81 wins for the first time in 21 years.
They're picking up some players to be able to do just that. Then they pick up
Justin Morneau.
Boy, that's going to help him out. Take a look at that Central.
Marlon Byrd, John Buck. I don't know how much Buck's going to help him.
And just let me say this. When you're playing in that kind of a race, that's even more pressure. Some of what our younger players haven't actually gone through.
Desmond throws a bouncer to second to get Pete Orr. What a play by Ian Desmond to get the force at second base for the second out.
Well, I knew he couldn't get 2. That's just a super play. Designed, by the way. Did that on purpose. It's just smart play. I mean, he's had a good year. We talked about that before. Just to get that ball in the hole. You see how he bounced it right there? Right there on purpose. No chance to get that double play. All they're looking for right now is to get that one. Get outs. Well, encouraging though. Younger guys are starting to make a little more solid contact on Gonzalez.
Down the right field line, that'll slice out of play. It's 1-2 to Kevin Franzen, who has walked in single tonight. Phillies have 4 hits. The Nationals have 4 hits. As we mentioned before, the Nationals have walked 5 times. 1 batter's been hit by a pitch. Opposite way, caught by Rendon. Now the Phillies have squared up a couple balls in this inning, but Rendon has robbed them. Desmond has robbed them, and we've played 5 innings. To the 6th we go. Gonzalez will lead it off for the Nets. Trying to prove that he has what it takes to pitch at the major league level. Jake Diekman was the 30th round pick for the Phils in the 2007 draft, and he is delivering in late inning situations with success. The left-hander returned to the Phillies in mid-June and has continued to improve with a sensational month of August, where his ERA was just over 2. The 6'4" kid from Nebraska is finding his place on the mound. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Top of the 6th inning, the Nationals lead the Phillies 5-2. Justin DeFreitas picked up for Ethan Martin, went a third of an inning. Struck out 1, walked 1. He allowed 1 inherited runner to score. He's done after being pinch hit for by Pete Orr. And left-hander Mauricio Robles, the 24-year-old from Venezuela, is about to make his major league debut. This year, down at Lehigh Valley, he was 2-2 with an ERA of 1.42. This after in 17 games with Reading, he went 3-1 with an earned run average of 2.77.
Well,
Phillies have a chance to see 2 players make their major league debut before the end of the month. Robles being one who's making it here tonight, and Cameron Rupp, who had a heck of a year as one of the catchers in the Phillies system, who is here and wearing number 29.
yeah, he's a pretty big guy. I introduced myself to him today. Asked him whether or not he felt he could hit or hit up on this level, and he did say yes.
You know, he's a Texan, Sarge. University of Texas.
Does that mean you can hit the major leagues?
Well, I mean, if you play for the Longhorns.
Well, they do have a good program. Okay. I'll go for that.
And as Scott Fransky always tells us, everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Cameron Rupp's a big guy.
Yeah, he is big. Well, we'll get a chance to see.
1 ball, no strikes to Gio Gonzalez. Yeah, there's a strike, 1-1. Robles began his professional career at the age of 17 with the Detroit Tigers organization. After several years with the Tigers, he went on to the Mariners. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Good fastball. Well, the other thing too that helps, you know, most of the Latin players are that they start off young, but they're able to play winter ball, and they're playing against, in a lot of cases, major league players.
There's a major league breaking pitch, and Gonzalez is retired. 1 out. First major league strikeout for Robles. He'll throw that ball around, and then he'll set it aside. That's one that they'll want to keep. For a pitcher, a lot of times that's like your first big league hit. Each ballpark has an authenticator.
Yep.
Tucker, who is the Phillies bat boy, walked that ball over and mentioned something to the authenticator about it being the first major league strikeout. Here's Denard Span. He's 2 for 3 today. A little high with that breaking pitch. 1-0.
A lot of times too, with the younger players that come up, they're looking to see how they act when they get into trouble. If they can keep their composure, whether or not you can throw strikes when you're down in the count. Good catch in these things. You know, and the other thing too, and playing in the Latin countries, you know, you got to fairly have some good years there. You got to just can't come there and think that, well, we're going to be working on things, because they're trying to win there for the Caribbean Series in the Latin countries. So you're not just put on the team because you have a good arm. You're put on that team because not only do you have the potential, but you are able to throw strikes.
Left side, and Ashe will have to hurry this throw, and he throws it wide. Franzen pulled off the bag. I don't think Span turned towards second.
No, not at all.
That'll be an E5, 4th error of the year for Ashe.
That's an easy play there. He had plenty of time after he got the ball, even though Span is a fast runner. Take a look at it. He comes in and see plenty of time. He just lets it go high. Once he does that, no chance to get him. You can see no attempt to go to second base by Span at all.
Ryan Zimmerman is hitless in 3 at-bats tonight. Down and away, 1 ball, no strikes.
Ryan used to be notorious for hitting balls the opposite way.
That's a balk. Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, says that Robles stepped toward the plate. So that means Span goes to second. Now we're behind home plate as well as Emmel. And watch where the lead foot lands.
Oh, yeah. It's automatic. It's right in front of the home plate umpire. You can see that all the way. He comes up with here behind in the count. Gotta have some off-speed pitches and in good location.
Well, there's that off-speed pitch, Sarge.
Now those are the toughest ones, I think, for any of the young pitchers coming up, to command the off-speed pitch. Most of them will have pretty good arm, and you should be able to throw a strike with the fastball. But you get behind in the count, doesn't matter how hard you throw. Major league hitters can catch up to your fastball.
2-1 to Zimmerman. Now 3 balls and 1 strike. There goes Span. Pitch is taken outside. The throw to third, not in time. Ball 4. It's the 7th walk issued by Phil's pitching tonight. And that'll bring Harper to the plate. 12 steals now for Denard Span.
That club that has something to play for, meaning the playoffs are trying to get there, they have that extra effort because they are actually playing for something.
Yeah, mathematically, the Nationals are still in this race. They're going to need a lot to happen in order for them to get back in it. They're going to need the Diamondbacks to cool off. They're going to need the Reds or the Cardinals or the Pirates to all of a sudden cool off. And they're going to have to take care of some business against some tough teams coming up.
Yeah, so they're thinking every game they're playing that they want to try and be able to come out on top. They don't want just a 2 out of 3 nowadays. They want to try and sweep you. Well, that's not going to be done. And then on the other hand, for the Fighting Phils, you want to be the spoiler. You're in the spoiler role, which hasn't happened in a long time.
One ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, this is back-to-back years the Phillies have basically been in the spoiler role. They, did have a heartbeat last year, but then the series against the Astros. Over to third. Ashley's going to come home with this one. Span is out.
It's a good play, good throw. Good instincts on that.
Great job by Ruiz to block the plate, too.
Yeah, that ball there doing a lot of spinning now. However, he makes sure that he gets his hop. Look at the throw, though. Throws it inside. Span getting down. Carlos blocks the plate. You can see clearly. What a great shot. Clearly they had him.
Well, that'll bring Jason Worth to the plate. So Span's retired. He was going on contact. There are 2 outs here in the 6th. He's trying to keep this at a 3-run ball game. They're going to be into the Nationals bullpen at some point.
Yeah.
Considering where Gonzalez's pitch count was. Inside, 1-0.
Pitchers have been jamming Jason tonight, throwing that ball on the inside part of the plate. Usually when guys have long arms, that's what you want to do, but he's been pretty quick this year. He's had a decent year. Said earlier, the ball that he swung at in the dirt off of Cole Hamels last night struck him out on that pitch. Said it was the worst at bat he had all year long.
That was the one in the 4th inning. 7th strikeout of the night for Hamels. 3 balls, no strikes to Worth.
Said he didn't know what he was actually even trying to do up there at the plate. And see, that's why you got to have a game plan, period, when you're going up at the plate. It's got to sit on the pitch that you're trying to hit up to 2 strikes. Yes, and there are some players that even guess with 2 strikes.
Broke his bat. Looper out towards center. Galvis on the run, and he makes a sliding attempt, and he did not make the grab. The throw to third, not in time. A run scores. It's a 6-2 ball game. An RBI broken bat single for Jason Worth.
Well, that died a hero. Good, pretty good pitch. He brings the hands in. See where this ball lands there. And I tell you, Galvis tries to make a really super catch out of that. There it is again, and just not able to get underneath it. Ball in no man's land.
Well, I guess Michael Martinez is playing so deep in center field that he couldn't come and get it. Galvis did everything he could to try to come up with that one.
Well, let's just face it, though. Jason, who does have power that way, going to have to play back some in his defense.
Well, it's back to a 4-run game. First pitch to Desmond, inside and low, 1 ball, no strikes.
That's why you really get spoiled when you have center fielders that they play shallow and they're able to take away those kind of base hits. Bob Lanier did that. One of my good friends here, Gary Maddox, used to just take away line drives that were hit. Potential base hits, taking those away. But you can only do that by playing shallow. That means when the ball is hit that you have the ability to go back and catch the ball when you are playing shallow, and both those players did.
Little bloop out to right center. That'll drop for a base hit. A run scores. Worth stops at second. 7-2 in favor of the Nationals. RBI single for Desmond. It's his 69th of the year. Lefty on lefty.
Yep.
The Roach has been on base 3 times tonight.
Okay, in all fairness, though, he did make a good pitch on Jason Worth, and Jason just strong enough to hit that ball in the outfield. But again, this is a different animal when you're up here in the major leagues. Yeah, he's going to have to work on that breaking ball, especially if he's going to get left-handers out. You'd like to see that breaking ball with some sharp break on it. Fastball looks pretty good. Got that in some pretty good locations.
No swing, says the third base umpire, Jerry Meals. There's Luis Garcia. Two and 0 to LaRoche. So at a Major League scoreboard, the Braves have now taken a 3-1 lead on the Mets. Evan Gattis sent down in the minor leagues. A little bit of a wake-up call for him. He tore it up in a couple of days in the minor leagues, and now he's got a base hit tonight. He's got 3 hits tonight, including a home run, to help the Braves to a 3-1 ball game, 3-1 lead.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Get down back on the farm, start riding those buses. That'll give you a wake-up call.
3-1 now to LaRoche. Well, it was only for a few days. They wanted to get him some at-bats, but he really was struggling. That's his first home run since the 24th of July.
Hard to keep your timing when you're not able to get enough at-bats.
Broke and then stopped. It's 3-2. Braves game, and Drelton Simmons helped them to the lead with a 2-run home run. Runners go, 3-2 pitch. Ground ball right side. Desmond tried to shield Hernandez, but he's able to keep his concentration. Side is retired. 2-run score. Mauricio Robles' major league debut is in the books. Phillies down by 5. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. Can't go wrong when you buy right. Buy Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. And buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Home after the 6th inning. Nationals on top of the Phils, 7-2. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. It'll be Ruiz, Ruff, and Cody Ashley against Gio Gonzalez, whose team has staked him to a 5-run lead. Great game last night. Exciting game last night.
Yeah.
Tonight, a little different story.
Maybe they're just waiting for the late innings for more heroics.
You've been around this game long enough. You know that starting pitching dictates the tempo, really dictates a lot of the game. Last night, Hamels was great through 7. And tonight, Ethan Martin struggled with his command, walked 5. Justin DeFreitas walked 1. Robles has walked 1. So 7 walks. That's going to cause you some problems.
Sure is.
Here's the 0-2 to Ruiz. Liner to center. Denard Span makes the catch. And there's one away here in the 6th. Well, earlier today, Baseball 101, the 3rd installment took place here at Citizens Bank Park. There's Wally Joyner and Steve Henderson working in the cage with some of the ladies. Of course, the ever affable Rich Doobie in the bullpen, chatting with some of the ladies, talking about pitching, talking about certain pitches.
Wow.
And Juan Samuel had him running today, Sarge.
Unbelievable. Running the bases.
There's Danny O'Rourke. He's got the mud out. And for more on Baseball 101, Murph has found his way to the ladies section.
I sure have. Section 207 with the ladies from Baseball 101. We all having a good afternoon and a good night at this point? Yeah. I knew they were. Say hello to Marianne Skinner from Vineland, New Jersey. You're going to be the official spokesperson. How did you and your group of friends right here, how did you guys get involved in Baseball 101?
Well, we were sitting here at the ballpark at a game one day, and I'm on the Phillies Facebook page, and we saw it come up about a previous one that they had done, and we said, let's go and join the next one. So we signed up, and we all got together, and it was awesome. We had a great day.
Tell me a little bit about what we saw. A little bit of what you got to do today. So tell us what some of the highlights of your afternoon and night were.
Absolutely being on the field, getting to see what the grounds crew do. We went into the bullpen. We got to throw some pitches, meet Rich Doobie. Then we went down into the dugout. We saw the dugout area. Then we went into the locker room. And then we had batting practice. Wow. We went back on the field, met with Juan Samuel. He showed us some of the signs. And then we ran the bases and had great food, great lunch, great dinner.
That was all before lunch?
Yeah. Met the Philly fanatic. It was awesome. We had a great day.
It's like being in the Army. But the best part of the afternoon, I have to imagine, came a little bit later, maybe around 4 o'clock.
Yes, we got to meet all of the Phillies announcers. Oh. All of them.
I wasn't fishing for that at all. A pretty crazy bunch, were they not?
Yeah, they were. My question to Sarge, did he finally get his shirt changed?
Sarge?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I have the right shirt on, and thanks for asking.
Yes, he says thanks for asking, and he assures you that he does have the correct shirt on, that nice baby blue. Sarge looks good in baby blue. Well, we just want to say thanks for being here today, guys. We hope you had a good time. It certainly looks like you did. I know it's a long day, but a fun one. And nice job, Marianne. She was so nervous, but she did great, didn't she? She did great, ladies. All right, guys. I should mention that Baseball 101 is brought to you by Apple Vacations and Palladium Hotels and Resorts. So thanks to them as well. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. All the proceeds from Baseball 101 go to help Phillies charities and all the great work that they do. Usually, and then they all are, usually there are 2. It's become so popular that now they've made it made it 3 times a year.
Wow.
So we did one as the TV group. L.A., Scott, and J.J. did one as the radio group, and today we decided to bring the whole family together.
Yeah, that was interesting, to say the least. It was fun, though. It's a good time, and the most important thing, though, the women get a chance to know the ins and out about baseball and able to ask questions there.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Ashe.
That's how you learn.
Well, I think the player they got a chance to hear from today was Dominic Brown. We saw Danny O'Rourke, who is one of the Phil's clubhouse attendants who handles the umpires. He was there with the mud that they used to rub up baseball. There were so many women there that as that ball gets away, that Danny could have given each woman a baseball and a little bit of mud, and they could have rubbed up a baseball for tonight's game.
Oh, okay.
It'll be another wild pitch.
I don't think women like putting their hands, Tom, in mud.
You don't think so? Marianne wouldn't have minded.
I don't know.
They're all celebrities, Sarge. Compliments of Murph.
Well, their phones are buzzing, so they know that they're on television. And they asked Murph, hey, you want to come up and join us? And man of his word that he is, there he is. Okay?
Runner at second, 1 out here in the 6th. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ashe, who has the 2 RBIs tonight. Fouls it back.
It looks like he's going to hit. Looks like he's going to be okay. The only problem that you have, he plays good defense. But when you're talking about third base, first base, outfield, you want some guys to be able to hit that ball out of the ballpark.
Bernard Span makes the grab. There are 2 outs. Well, that's the thing, Sarge. You know, what's enough as far as hitting the ball out of the ballpark for the third baseman? Okay.
Give me 20 and 80.
All right, what if you have a guy at another position which generally does not provide pop, and then you can then have a guy at third base that doesn't hit you?
Oh, absolutely. You just need to be able to get it from somewhere. You know, and he's there. He's going to get stronger, however, you know, as a hitter. Maybe he can give you those 15 to 20. But again, being able to hit the balls there in the gaps, doubles, that will supply you some power for some RBIs. Any way you get them is just fine.
Here's Mayberry. 0-1 to Mayberry. He takes a breaking ball.
That home run, however, gives you the quick RBI. That run scored. That's what Mike used to talk about Schmidt all the time. You get a hit, get a run scored, and most importantly, you get that RBI. Tell you what, I'm sure Mayberry not going to want to hear this, but he should be a candidate going to play in the Latin countries for sure. He needs to tighten up that swing a little bit more. He should be able to hit, for me, more home runs. 10 to date. Should be able to hit himself at least 15, 20, more like 20, especially in a ballpark where he's playing at. And going to win a ball would just maybe help him, and not only ability-wise, but maybe confident-wise. Let him see exactly where he is as a player, because you can't go down there and mess around. You get a lot of offers there. They're going to put you on a plane and get you back to the States.
I would think you have to do a lot of thinking on your own, though, Sarge. Some adjustments on your own if you go to winter ball.
Well, they have, you know, hitting coaches and so on there, too. Instantly, too. I mean, you can almost pick a player's bat up and tell whether or not he's hitting the ball or not. And when you look at Mayberry's bat, all the nicks are at the end of the bat. So that tells me right away that he's pulling off of the ball and not going through and making solid contact.
Gets a piece of a curve, and it remains 1-2.
There's those nicks I'm talking about. You look at them and they're on the end of the bat. You're looking at a player that's not really having a whole lot of fun in terms of driving and hitting the baseball.
Sorry to laugh, but sort of was going after a foul ball, and they just tumbled right over the top of one of the seats. He was like a worm going over the top of one of those seats. That gentleman with his with the shirt right there. I think he almost lost his pads.
He'll do just about anything for a baseball.
Guy with the gray shirt, I should say. Everybody's wearing a shirt, hopefully, tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another foul ball. It remains 1-2.
Mayberry having a tough at bat.
There's our worm. The effort was there. Two balls and 2 strikes. Ruff still at second base. Still 2 men down.
A big run to pick up 2 outs. So you get down to kind of these dog days here. I mean, as a player, you want to make sure you have 1 or 2 hits. So you're trying to contribute to the win.
He did get a piece of it, so he stays alive.
Got to make the curveball up. That's why it's so important. Again, you got to pick up the spin of it. And, you know, and I say that it's not that difficult to do because you've been playing for so long. You get used to the different spins of the ball, from the slider, the curveball, fastball. Quicker you can pick up the spin, the easier it is to hit.
Ground ball towards shortstop. Desmond slipped a little bit, throws low, off the glove of LaRoche, and a run will score. Mayberry's on his way to second. It's a 7-3 game. Error number 16 for Ian Desmond. And a 10-pitch at bat for Mayberry.
You got one of the best in the business there at first base, and Adam LaRoche there. Take a look at it. Top spin on it, actually didn't get a hold of the ball and really stepped the way that he should. Not a difficult play for a shortstop. Almost seemed to rush that a little bit.
So Gonzalez gets a trip to the mound by Wilson Ramos. He's at 115 pitches, so now they have somebody up in the pen. A left-hander behind him.
These are the things that make pitchers throw more pitches in the game, those errors. That's why defense is just so important.
I don't think I've ever heard the phone ring in the bullpen. That was the ring that you just heard. It was kind of piercing.
Yeah, it was.
Martinez takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Eric Kratz has come out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Kroll will be joined by Ryan Matthews. He's the right-hander. Kroll's the left-hander. And here comes Steve McCaddy. They're doing that to stall just in case Gonzalez runs into trouble here.
Yep.
They want the righty for Kratz.
And some pitchers get loose a little quicker than others. Some need a little bit more time. All up to the individual, by the way.
Coming up on Sports Night, highlights of this ball game, plus the latest as the Eagles prepare for Monday night in Washington. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight after postgame live only on Comcast Sportsnet. Michael Martinez is hitless in 2 at-bats. Takes a pitch low. It's 2-0. Gonzalez at 117 pitches. He's labored with the strike zone at times tonight.
Yeah.
And a line drive toward left center field. That'll drop for a hit. Mayberry's around third, heading for home. The throw by Harper to the plate is not in time. It gets away. Martinez is going to third. The throw by Ramos is not in time. It's a 3-run game. And the Nationals now all of a sudden are throwing the ball all over the place. A couple of odd decisions all the way around on that particular play. Harper's got a good arm, and it was a close play at the plate. But he overthrew the cutoff man. It allowed Martinez to go to second, and then the error allowed Martinez to go to third.
Yeah, well, first of all, good hitting by Martinez there, too. Sending the runner all the way. You're right, pretty good throw, though. But when you have that lead, Tom, for me, you got to throw that ball on into second base. Now you have a runner there, not just at second, but in scoring position in Martinez with heads-up base running as he gets to second and the third.
All right, so they charge an error to Harper on the throw. Eric Kratz has been introduced as a pinch hitter, so Gio Gonzalez is coming out of the game, and they'll go to the bullpen. The Nationals will. It's a 3-run game. Phils have a runner at third, 2 outs. Quite interesting with a couple of runs here in the bottom of the 6th. Ryan Matthews will come on to take over for Gio Gonzalez. Eric Kratz had been introduced as a pinch hitter, Sarge, but Ryan Sandberg is going to pull him back and send out Chase Utley to pinch hit. So the Phillies will get the matchup they want, lefty on righty, with Michael Martinez over at third. Boy, the Nationals are really leaving the door wide open for the Phillies.
Just not playing really smart baseball.
Sometimes, I mean, Harper made a heck of a throw. He really did.
Well, the only problem I had is that that ball was hit in a direction where he had to throw it from the side. If he was able to hit the ball and it was right at him and he was coming up and throwing, might have been an easier throw for him. And however, didn't get the ball down. You got to get the ball down so you can cut it out, cut the ball off.
Well, here's Utley with Matthews on the mound, and he whacks the first pitch over the glove of Zimmerman, a base hit. Martinez scores. It's a 7-5 ball game. Well, don't turn away just yet.
See, there's my point too. If that ball Harper had thrown would have actually been to second base, that hit there wouldn't have scored another run. Good hitting, though, by Chase Utley as he takes the ball where hits it right where it's pitched. Martinez coming in the picture as he scored. All clutch hits here with 2 outs. Fighting Fields right back in the game, only down 2.
So this is going to be a game for the bullpens. Cesar Hernandez the batter, and Hernandez is swing and a miss. It's 0-1. Hernandez 0 for 3, struck out, grounded out, lined out.
definitely coming right off the bench, hitting a fastball. That's what you got to stay on, especially too when you're pinch hitting.
Is he trying to tie the game up, you think, Sarge?
Well, he is swinging a little bit hard. You're right. But on those breaking balls, you're just taking Hernandez to school with that.
Now the 0-2 pitch coming to Hernandez. In the dirt, gets by Ramos. He'll throw to second base. Utley is safe at second base.
Wow.
That is the third wild pitch thrown by the Nationals tonight.
I got to tell you, good thing he was hustling and didn't take it for granted. That ball coming right off the backstop, he bare hands it, throws it right on the money. You're looking at that particular play there. You got problems. Take a look at it as it goes right through his legs, and he just bare hands the ball. Don't have to worry about that with Utley, though, because he's just about always hustling.
Check swing. No appeal. No swing. 2-2. Two balls, two strikes.
Rhino keeps looking at the scorecard, looking at matchups to do as a manager. During the course of the game, you feel good when you have the matchups that you want or that you feel that's in your favor.
Gets away again from Ramos, who this time doesn't make a throw.
I got to tell you, I haven't seen anything like this.
This game is nuts.
This is wild pitches. I mean, you got to get down and block them sooner or later. See Samuel with a little smile over there at third base. Get a chance to ask him tomorrow, have you seen anything like this? Why not throw another wild pitch then?
Why not? Although they're coming back pretty fast to the catcher. Ground ball right side. Rendon watches it into his glove, and the side is retired. The Phillies get 3. They're making it a ball game again. It's a 2-run game. We've completed 6. 37 total pitches that half inning. We'll go to the 7th. It's the Nationals 7, Phillies 5.
Well, it's time now for your local Honda dealer's game storm. That was a really ugly 6th inning, wasn't it?
That only begins to tell the story.
I'm telling you. Sloppy. The 2 starters, you see what's happened with them tonight. A bunch of unearned runs in there, too, for Gio Gonzalez, and he's out of the ballgame. Wilson Ramos, a 3-run home run, and that was in the 2nd inning. And a lot of the other scoring in this game is, you had to see it to believe it.
Well, here is Wilson Ramos. He'll lead it off. Ramos has 4 RBIs tonight. And here's Luis Garcia back from the minor leagues. Garcia 0-1, a 5.59 ERA.
Ramos, it looks like he's catching with a pillow back there.
Well, he is catching in his 12th consecutive game.
Maybe that's it.
You know, they traded away Kurt Suzuki, who was the other part of their catching tandem, their catching duo.
So you're saying he may need some time off.
Yeah, and they brought up another catcher today. They've got a couple on their roster. Two balls and no strikes. 3-0.
How many times you said that tonight? That's been a theme. Is pitchers falling behind hitters.
Phillies have walked 7 batters tonight. And there's ball 4, make it 8. So Garcia issues the leadoff walk. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They were to receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Rich Dubey's coming out to talk to Garcia. They're getting Jimenez up and throwing in the bullpen.
Both teams have a lot of extra players. In fact, they have 10 extra men on their bench tonight. 10. So it's really hard to even anticipate what a move could be, except which side of the plate they may hit from.
Andrew Brown has come out in the on-deck circle for the Nationals. And now a pinch runner. Every time the Phillies retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long.
Well, listen to you about Ramos, that he needs some time off. They're going to run for him.
So Ramos is going to be pinch run for.
It's Coburnus, huh? He was up earlier and hit a home run here off Cliff Lee in a game. He can really run.
Corey Brown is in the on-deck circle. I think I said Andrew Brown. I think he plays for the Mets. First pitch is inside. It's 1-0. Here's Corey Brown. They have another kid by the name of Zach Walters, who hit 29 home runs this year down in the minor leagues. Here's Walters right there with the black sleeve. He's a switch hitter. 29 home runs, 25 against right-handers, 4 against left-handers.
They got him in a trade with Arizona.
Over to second, that should be 2. Hernandez to Galvis. They're like Rollins and Utley. They've played so much together. 4-6-3 double play, 2 outs here in the 7th.
Yeah, there are a lot of things in this game that haven't looked big league. That did. That was really a smooth double play on a hard hit ball, and watch 2 guys who are very skillful around the bag execute. Here you go with a dead double play ball, hard hit. As Tom said, they play together a lot, so he gives Freddie a really quick feed. And watch this runner get out of the way. Look out, get down. When an infielder comes across the bag and throws from that angle, that will get a runner down fast, and he will keep him away from your feet.
Well, 2 outs, and here is Brown. First pitch is up high, 1 ball, no strikes.
Best I ever saw that was Manny Trio. He'd have guys sliding halfway down the line because he'd come across and do that underhand thing, and he'd throw about 100 miles an hour. and they would get down so fast it was funny.
On the outside corner. When Luis Garcia was up earlier this year, it wasn't too long ago, he had some really good games. He had some rough games late.
Well, his slider's pretty good, but he had trouble with his fastball command and would get hurt on fastballs when he couldn't get ahead to use that breaking ball.
That ball's hit well deep to right field, and it's not coming back. Ooh. Wow, into the second deck. The second big league home run for Corey Brown. And it's now an 8-5 ball game.
Well, we talked about how the wind's blowing out to right field tonight, and he crushed that, and he got a little extra boost on it into the upper deck. I think that's what we were just talking about, how he gets hurt on his fastball. There it is. Good timing on it. Pitch was right down the middle. There's that straight fastball, and that's what happens with it.
Well, that's a long home run. That was the first major league at bat of the year for Brown. He had 27 plate appearances last year.
Probably didn't even feel that one.
So it's an 8-5 game. Denard Span has been on base 3 times tonight. That one's back toward the middle. Galvis is out there, makes the catch. Side is retired. Time to stretch here at Citizens Bank Park, but Corey Brown has made the stretch a little more difficult. His solo home run has made it an 8-5 Nationals lead. Time to chew on this one. What college baseball team did Cody Ashe play for?
He pulled that jersey out in the lobby of the hotel the other day.
Yes, he
when
did.
You and I were standing there?
Yes, he did.
And it was red.
It wasn't a baseball jersey.
And it was red.
It was red.
For the big red of the Cornhuskers.
Oh, I think you were going to say Cornell. I was going to say, you're wrong.
Of Nebraska.
That is correct.
No, he loves Nebraska.
Had a chance to go to the University of Missouri, which is his home state. Decided to go to Nebraska.
One time huge rivals in the Big 8. Now they're all over the place.
Jonathan Solano will take over. Jose Lobaton is of the Tampa Bay Rays. Solano will take over behind the plate. Drew Storen will take over on the mound. He pitched in yesterday's game. The changes are straight up for the Nationals. There is Cody Ashe, the Cornhusker.
Knows a lot of their history. Knows about that game that Penn State beat them when Guy was allegedly out of bounds. Knew all about that. I didn't think he was even born then.
I think his parents may have gone to Nebraska. I think that's one of the reasons.
Is that what it is?
It's one of the reasons why he decided to go there.
He certainly is involved with Nebraska.
Been involved in tonight's game too.
That guy, by the way, was Mike McCluskey, who went to Father Judge right here in Philadelphia.
Good bunt by Galvis. Storen off the mound, sets himself and throws low, dug out by LaRoche. Was a good bunt. After looking at it, it just died a little too soon. It needed a little bit more on it, right?
Yeah, and he's not a very fast runner. So Storen was on it in a hurry, and once again saved by LaRoche over at first base. This is a tremendous play by the first baseman. Storen on it, and look at it, he fires a seed. Look at that short hop that LaRoche comes up with. That's a really good play.
Well, the first out recorded. Here's Franzen. Franzen up for the 4th time tonight. Walked his first time, singled his in the 4th, lined out his last time up. Hit the ball hard.
Yeah, they hit some balls hard in that inning and didn't get anything out of it. Some tremendous plays in the infield in that inning. He brought that pillow out there. And some strange stuff in this game.
Well, the Nationals certainly don't look like a playoff ready team by any stretch.
No, they can see what they've
had their frustrating year.
Yeah, they've had their problems.
Out to right. Jason Worth has not been one of their problems. He makes the catch for the second out.
Well, they like to think right now they have it down to 9 outs, now 7, that they have guys at the end that can do that. Last night they let it get away. But one of the really good parts of their team has been their late inning relievers for the most part. But, you know, they have a 3-run lead right now, and they would think that they're okay. Phillies are going to try and make them think that they're not. It's silly this time of the year. All these players available. So you and I were talking about last night. They got to do something about standardizing this.
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Talk about a fastball that rode in real fast. That's exactly what that one did.
It's hard for a right-handed hitter to hit that ball where that is. It's way out in front on a pitch in.
Swing and a miss. He got him with a slider. So a 1-2-3 7th inning for Storen. Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a 1-2-3 inning.
He's trying to Storen some.
We go to the 8th. It's an 8-5 Nationals lead. .com, your local dealer today. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Toyota. Toyota's nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. Top of the 8th inning, Nationals 8, Phillies 5. Luis Garcia still out there.
Going to break really quick. I was trying to say he was trying to store in some order.
Well, he did.
So
hasn't happened much tonight.
That's what Drew Storen did.
A little play on words, Wheels.
Couldn't get to it. Break was coming fast. You got to stay out of it.
Wheels, you could have taken it to break.
Ah, well, that's your job.
Ryan Zimmerman, 0 for 3. Even with all the pitches that he threw last night, Tyler Clippard is still getting up and warming in the pen.
Well, he's a guy they like in the 8th. They like Storen in the 7th now, and of course Soriano in the 9th inning. That's what I meant about they think they can command the game a little bit better when they got it to this point.
Down the right field line, it is going to slice foul.
Oh, that'll go a long way too with that wind.
Holy cow!
You get it out in that wind to right field tonight, and they really go. As we saw on that upper deck homer, there are the flags. What a beautiful, beautiful night here.
One-two pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Good slider. Toyota Major League Scoreboard down in Atlanta. The Braves have defeated the Mets 3-1. Magic number is now 10 to clinch a playoff spot.
September 3rd.
Yeah, 10. They're going to run away with it. Again, they're going to run away with it, the playoff spot, and they're going to run away with the division. And then they're going to have to answer all the questions. Can they parlay that into success in the postseason?
Yeah, because they're going to be coasting for a long time before postseason starts. The way it's going, they're not going to be in any intense games, and then sometimes you run into one of those hot teams that had a battle like heck to get there.
That ball is hit toward the alley in left center field. The wind keeps it in the yard.
As the Phillies are well aware of, that happened to them twice with the Giants and the Cardinals. Those two teams really had to play hard, and the year the Phillies won the World Series, they had to do that to get in. So there's something to that.
Oh, 2 outs. Jason Worth coming up. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy College. And Major League Baseball has announced their postseason schedule. It all gets started on October 1st for the National League Wildcard game. American League Wildcard on the 2nd. Then the Division Series begin on the 3rd. Both of them, both American League and National League. And Game 1 of the World Series, Wednesday, October 23rd.
Right.
The San Diego Padres, they've locked up their outfielder, Will Venable, for another 2 years. Venable, 30 years old, batted .277, has 20 home runs this season. And guys, we're getting a little sentimental in the notebook tonight because we want to send out well wishes to a couple we know very well, Ryan Hayes and Todd Zalecki. Todd Zalecki of MLB.com, who's been covering the team for almost 11 years now. And Ryan, who works in our community relations department, got engaged this weekend. So congratulations to them. Nice job, Todd. Certainly out of his league. That's what I would say. Congratulations.
That one's back to the middle. Sliding attempt by Galvis. No play. Worth is aboard. I think Wheels and I both concur that Todd is above his skis a little bit.
Absolutely. And he is marrying a Marple Newtown Tiger.
Oh, okay.
Very happy.
Ryan is great. Yep. And it's about time, Todd. We'll say that on behalf of Ryan. Jimmy, tell Todd it's about time. Jim Salisbury from CSNPhilly.com, the father figure that he is.
Figure, what's this all about? Father figure. Clearly hears that.
I was going to say grandfather.
That Willie hears that, Murph. It's even better.
There's Desmond. Takes inside 1-0. Desmond is 1 for 3. Well, that slider's good. It does disappear pretty good.
That's what we're talking about last inning. He has a very good slider, but when he has to get fastballs unfortunately, he throws a lot of fastballs in the middle of the plate, and he throws them nice and hard. And these left-handed hitters just, well, you know, they just really love pitches like that.
Opposite way, that's a bullet. Mayberry will play it on a hop. Worth stops at second. Ball was hit on a line.
Another fastball.
And Adam LaRoche is coming to the plate.
You don't want to throw a fastball to this guy where he can get it, especially with that wind blowing out to right field. He just looks like everything's so slow and relaxed, and then he can really pop them.
Jerry Meals says no swing, 2-1. Runners will be off with this pitch. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs. Nationals scored 3 in the second. Phillies scored 2 in the fourth. Nationals scored 2 in the fifth and 2 in the sixth. The Phillies scored 3 in their half of the sixth. It was 7-5 until the Nats scored 1 run in the seventh. Runners go. Check swing. They'll appeal. No swing. Another walk, and the bases are loaded.
Well, he didn't give in with a fastball there. He figured he's probably going to throw slider, and did. And LaRoche didn't swing at it.
So 9 walks now for the Phillies. Last time they walked 9, it was this year. It was back on the 28th of July in Detroit. Well, here's Solano up for the first time. Takes a strike, 0-1. Seven for 37 this year. Fly ball center field. Michael Martinez coasts under it. And that'll do it for the top of the 8th inning. Well, the Nationals leave them loaded here in the 8th, so it's on to the bottom of the 8th. The Phillies down by 3. Ruff, Ashe, and Mayberry.
defensive plays of the game. Ian Desmond, shortstop, such an athletic player. Here's a tremendous barehand pickup, snap throw to first, got him right there. And how about this force play? He makes it second. He did this on purpose. See him just bounce it over there. Rendon at second base plays like he's a second base or a first baseman, gets the force out there. And those are our Hyundai defensive plays of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
All right, Will, so we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's an 8-5 lead for the Nationals. 8 runs on 9 hits, 3 errors. The Phillies 5 runs on 6 hits, 1 errors. There have been a lot of walks. Phillies have issued 9 walks. There have been a lot of wild pitches tonight. Obviously, there have been 4 errors combined. Tyler Clippard, who pitched last night ineffectively, will pitch in his 63rd game for the Nationals this year. 6-3 with an ERA of 2.21. And he will face Darren Ruff to start the bottom of the 8th. Certainly not an insurmountable lead by the Nationals. Ruff is 0 for 2 with a walk. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Balls and no strikes. Up high, now 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, you mentioned Tom Clippard threw a lot of pitches here last night, but they're trying to win as many games as they can, and they think this is the best way to do it. They'll use him in the 8th inning here to get this Soriano.
There's a strike, 3-1.
Guy is durable.
On deck. That ball is hit well. Deep to center field. Span on the run. The wind will keep it in the yard, and he makes the catch.
Yep.
That ball would have been up by Bernie's camera.
Oh, my.
If the wind wasn't blowing the way it's blowing here tonight, that just sounded like it was crushed.
It was. It was crushed. And the wind knocked it down.
That was Bernie right there. Hey, Bernie?
Bernie would have had a play.
He would have had a play?
Absolutely. Well, it was hit really well. It was going to go out of the ballpark. There's no doubt about that. And he gets out into this area right there, and look at Span all of a sudden slow down and catches it easily because the wind, it turned it into a parachute is what it did.
All right, so Bernie's safe. He's the only one with a cover on his camera. He's thinking rain. Cody Ashley takes a strike. It's 0-1.
That Ruff's thing, well, I can't hit it better than that.
Just sounded like it was too far.
Remember that one Jason Worth hit there off Storen that Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
That's where that thing was headed.
Yeah, you're right.
Into that area.
Yep. 0-1 to Ashley. Ashley has 2 hits today and 3 at bats. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ashley had some good swings tonight against Gio Gonzalez. Gonzalez went 5 2/3.
He sure did, especially that 0-2 fastball he hit back up the middle. Gio had thrown 2 pretty good curveballs before that, and then he hit the fastball back through the middle. I'm sure he was upset that he threw him a fastball that he could handle, but still, that was a good swing by a left-handed hitter against a guy like Gio Gonzalez.
Out in front, 2-2.
There's that changeup.
Well, Max Scherzer pitched well tonight. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, but he did not win his 20th game. The Red Sox, behind John Lester, defeated the Tigers 2-1.
Those 2 teams could play again in the fall.
They very well could. balls, 2 strikes. That ball's hit well also. Deep to right field. That one is gone! Solo home run for Cody Ashley, his 3rd hit of the night. But it's back to a 2-run game.
Yeah, and depending on where you hit it with a wind tonight, it could be back. Should have been back-to-back home run. Cody didn't hit that one anywhere near as well as Darren Ruff did, and he gets it up into that jet stream, gets it out of the ballpark. Nice to see for Cody to have 3 hits here tonight. Give him a real good changeup the pitch before that and got him out front. Looks like he came with a fastball there, and he's right on it, and a line drive home run into about the 3rd row there in right center field.
Made a winner out of Ian Sklarov of Berwyn, Pennsylvania. He won $200 thanks to Cody Ashley in the McDonald's home run jackpot. Here's Mayberry. Mayberry has scored a run tonight. He's 0 for 3. Reached on an error his last time.
Clippers on fumes a little bit tonight.
He does. Well, I thought he looked like he was on fumes last night.
A little bit, yeah. But tonight, you know, after all those pitches, he said they feel he's their best option in the 8th inning, obviously, and they're trying to win every game they can.
Hit to left field. Harper has a beat on it. It was toward the end of the bat with the wind. He was out front. Harper thought it was the 3rd out, so he started running in. The fans are going to love that.
That kind of night.
2 outs.
Fans putting his glove up in front of his face because he's laughing. Harper knows, well, I just brought the wrath of this crowd on me, and that's not a good idea. Right here, he thinks it's a 3rd out. And he's going to come trotting on in, and then it's like, whoops. Johnny Kruk did that one night with a guy on second base here, and the guy scored from second. And I mean, he had his head down and was in a big time trot. And he'll talk about that too. They'll talk about embarrassing moments. It was the 2nd out, and all the way from second base.
Where Larry Walker cut a ball in right field one time and gave it to a fan with it wasn't the end of the inning and somebody scored.
It was at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Just walked over where the stands are real low and handed it to somebody. And then he went running back to try and get the ball back. That was the funniest part about it.
Rollins is out on deck. Pitcher spot is due up next.
Might as well laugh about it. See what Davey Johnson thinks. Oh my. He didn't call many high strikes tonight, to say the least. Really going to the changeup now. Got an out on a changeup to Mayberry, throwing a lot of them here to Martinez. It just seems a little short with his fastball. Like another one, unless they went back to fastball.
Yeah, they did. 3-2.
He did a quick shake and went from changeup back to fastball.
Wonder if they'll lift Clifford when Rollins comes up, force Rollins to bat right-handed. They've got Kroll warming up in the bullpen.
Like a changeup grip.
And it was. Martinez out front. Side is retired. Phillies did get one back on a solo home run by Cody Ashley. Ashley ripped this pitch from Tyler Clifford into the seats in right field. So it's back to a 2-run game as we go to the 9th here in Philadelphia. return, at least for the moment, to the Washington Nationals. Nationals, you see all the BBs that are listed next to the batters. A lot of walks tonight by Phillies pitching. They've walked 9 batters in tonight's ball game. Denard Span has a couple hits from the leadoff spot. Jason Worth, 2 hits. Ian Desmond, 2 hits. Wilson Ramos has 4 RBIs. He's done for the night. And the Phillies will go back to the bullpen, and they'll go back to the minor leagues, where Joe Savory makes his return to the big leagues. And he's going to try to keep this at a 2-run ball game and give the Phils one last chance at the bottom of the ninth. Haven't been too many clean innings tonight for the Phillies. In fact, you got to go all the way back to the first for Ethan Martin, but he retired the side in order. Savory's numbers in the major leagues this year, former #1 pick. Wheels, your kind of music being played here at the
like
ballpark.
that. There's a local guy, Chubby Checker.
It'll be Rendon to lead it off. Looks like Tyler Moore's out in the on-deck circle. Ground ball to third. Ashley backs up on it. Boy, that took a bounce off the lip. 1 away. So Tyler Moore just back from the minor leagues. Well, pinch hit.
I believe his real name was Ernie Evans.
Chubby Checker's real name, Ernie Evans?
I think so. Oh, here we go. Go to the cloud.
Go to the cloud.
I've been hot with this stuff lately. When you check on it, let's see what happens on this one. Something Ernie Evans, I think it
was. Let's see. Ernie Evans, real estate broker in the Outer Banks.
But something like that.
Ernest Evans is correct.
Ding, I got that 50s, 60s trivia down for you.
Tyler Moore takes low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
From Ernest Evans to Chubby Checker.
Born in South Carolina.
Yep, but he settled in here.
Settled in Philadelphia.
Yep, for a long time. Lived in Gladwin, I think.
Moore fouls it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, he was a hot item at one time with his records. Oof. A little twist cam going on here now between innings.
Savory tried to get him to go pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looking ahead to the Phillies' bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be the pitcher's spot, and then Hernandez and Galvis. Swing and a miss. He got him. Good breaking ball by Savory. 2 outs. Reminder this Friday when the Phillies take on the Atlanta Braves, thanks to the folks at Cabrini College, all fans 15 and older will receive the Phillies knit hat. Order your tickets for the start of that 3-game series at Phillies.com. Here's Denard Span. A couple hits tonight. And 5 at-bats. Ball bounced about 55 feet from the mound and got Carlos Ruiz right in the gut. So Paul Emmel's giving him a little extra time.
Used up Eric Kratz tonight as an announced pinch hitter. Of course, they have Cameron Rupp here now, who at some point will make his major league debut, like a lot of players in red and white have this year.
Line drive, base hit for Span. It's his 3rd hit.
He's starting to look like the guy they traded for.
And it gives Zimmerman another chance to hit. Zimmerman is 0 for 4 with a walk. Walk back in the 6th inning. In fact, if you look through the Nationals lineup, you'll find some guys that have walked tonight.
Trying to keep this to a 2-run game against their closer, so they're going to bring in a right-hander.
So Ryan Sandberg will come out to the mound. That's going to be it for Joe Savory. B.J. Rosenberg has been warming in the bullpen. So they'll try to get it out from Rosenberg. He got Zimmerman last night. So another move to the pen. Phillies down by 2, trying to keep it that way. We'll be back with B.J. Rosenberg after this. Coming in to try to keep it at a 2-run ball game immediately after the game. Stay tuned for Ben Davis's analysis on Ethan Martin's performance and also the performance by the Phil staff in general against the Nats. Only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies postgame live. Here comes B.J. Rosenberg, 2-0. 10 strikeouts. One of those strikeouts was Ryan Zimmerman in last night's ball game. Bongo cam going up on the board right now. Matt Gelb.
A lot of press box shots in it. Engagements. Bongo cam. What's next? Grandfathers. It's Jimmy.
Ooh, throw over to first. They nearly got Denard Span.
You could have picked him off. Then the Phillies came in. Be the winning pitcher.
Again.
Without having retired a hitter. It happens. It's happened. There would have been right there. Pick him off. Then you come in, win the game. B.J. Rosenberg didn't pitch to a hitter, would be the winner.
Last night it was that breaking pitch that got Ryan Zimmerman. That one is low. 1 ball, no strikes.
It was almost a fastball that got Span then.
His Span, as any base runner usually does, dove back to the back of the bag, sort of away from the tag.
Especially with a right-handed first baseman.
Popped him up. Ruiz off with the mask. That's going to be back into the crowd. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rafael Soriano is up in the Nationals bullpen. This is a save situation.
Phillies in game number 19 out of 20 straight. And then have 1 more tomorrow, and then the off day on Thursday.
Off day Thursday, off day Monday. And now the 1-1 pitch. Fastball a little low. 2-1.
Started Ryan Sandberg's interim managership, was the first game of this 20 in a row against the Dodgers that night.
Yep. The Phillies are 10-8 in And Ryan Sandberg took over for Charlie Manuel.
18 games.
Runner goes and then stops. 2-2. He's not biting at that slider tonight, although that's listed as a splitter up on the board. Could be his changeup. Runner will be off on this pitch. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. A line drive toward right center field. That's in for a base hit. Mayberry cuts it off. Spans on his way to third. They'll hold him at third, so first and third with 2 outs. And it'll bring Bryce Harper to the plate. That's 11 hits now for the Nationals.
A lot of base runners.
$11 hits, 9 walks.
A lot of base runners.
And Bryce Harper, he's one of those walks, hitless. In 4 official at bats, he has scored a couple runs.
Toss an error in there for another one.
I guess he is throwing a split.
Yeah. That thing dove pretty well.
Sure did.
It's a great pitch to throw to a left-handed hitter.
He missed the spot a little bit on that one. That looked like a pretty good pitch. And now it's 1-1. $28,000 plus, and they're hanging in there. They realize this is still a ball game, and this is a big out to try to keep it a ball game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Spans over at third. Zimmerman's at first. See what they settled on. 2-2 pitch. Zimmerman goes. Pitch is hit foul. Settled on a fastball. Tomorrow it'll be Jordan Zimmerman against Roy Halladay. Final game of this 3-game series. Phillies have 3 more in Washington this year. Again, the 2-2 pitch. Oh, man.
Had to call it inside.
Probably throw the same pitch.
He swung at him one time.
Yeah.
This at bat, that fastball was running on him.
Runner goes from first, and the pitch is swung on and missed. It gets away from Ruiz. He'll get to it quickly and then bobbles it. He had a play. A run scores. Zimmerman to third. And it's 9-6 in favor of the Nationals.
There have been some bizarre runs scored here tonight. Harper can run even though he has a bad hip, and that's what Ruiz knew, so he rushed it and then lost the grip on the ball. He had a shot at it.
Well, it'll be a strikeout and a wild pitch.
He threw that split, that changeup, and it really dove and fooled Harper, and Carlos backhanded it. Watch him backhand it here, and it gets away from him. And right here, he's got him. If he could have gloved it and thrown it cleanly.
So an extra run for the Nationals. Jason Worth is the batter. Worth takes low, 1-0. He's a little off with his command tonight. He's worked a lot.
Well, they brought him in hoping he'd get one out on Zimmerman, and this has certainly turned into a lot more. To the point they have to get Jimenez up.
Yeah, he's been up a few times tonight, so it's not going to take him long to get warm. 3 balls, 1 strike. Ground ball to third. Knocked down by Ashe. And the side is retired. So the Nationals score 1 additional run on a wild pitch. So as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, Soriano in a save situation has a 3-run lead to work with. At 9-6. They came from behind and won last night's ball game. They'll have to do the same thing here tonight, but they'll have to do it in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they'll do it against Rafael Soriano, the closer for the Nationals. He's been a good pickup for them, and he'll be on to face the pitcher's spot and then the top of the order for the Phils. Lately, these games here at Citizens Bank Park have been very exciting. This one hasn't really been as exciting, but it can finish in an exciting way. But it's up to the Phils to get some base runners. Ryan Sandberg taking a look at his lineup card, doing some adjusting. Jimmy Rollins will be up as a pinch hitter for the Phils to start this 9th inning.
And Soriano can be hot and cold too. He throws a lot of cutters. Some nights he's really in command of his pitch and he gets real quick outs. Other nights he scuffles a little bit and you get a shot at it.
Can't imagine that his heartbeat is all that excitable. And he just doesn't look like he puts a whole lot of thought into it.
Doesn't look like much bothers him, which is an excellent temperament for a closer.
So Jimmy Rollins will pitch in here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Phillies trailing by 3. Earlier this week they were down by 5 in a game and they came back and won it. It wasn't in their final at bat, of course. Rollins takes a strike, 0-1. Overall, Jimmy 244, 5 home runs, 36 runs batted in. Off the hands, shallow right field. Rendon will give way to Worth, and then 1 away. Cesar Hernandez is 0 for 4. Back toward the middle. That'll be a base hit. One more base runner. And the Phillies will bring the tying run to the plate. Well, this is the kind of game that, who knows, could lead to a crazy finish.
You just know. Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to get Jimmy on. Put a little more pressure on it. Like Cesar Hernandez, a little bit we've seen of him. He can swing the bat a little bit. He has a real idea on how to hit him.
Now Galvis 0 for 4. 0 for his last 14 in the big leagues. Not that the 10 before this really mattered. He's had a ton of at-bats in the minors. 1 ball, no strikes.
Another base runner. Don't need a big swing for a home run here. Let's try to get on.
Got to take a strike here, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He has an idea. One thing you always notice about Freddie is he has a real idea on how to play the game the right way. And he knows he's not the tying run that he needs to get on to get the tying run of the plate.
Now the 2-0 pitch.
The zone's tight tonight. Soriano's going to find out.
And particularly the last 3 innings or so. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I just thought he started out tight.
Yeah, he could have.
It's just been that way tonight. But it's been very consistent. But a lot of times you have games like this when that happens.
And there's ball 4. The tying run is coming to the plate.
That's a postage stamp in there tonight. Nothing high, then the low one. Take it.
Adam LaRoche going over to chat with Soriano. So Hernandez and Galvis aboard. Very good speed at second. Pretty good speed at first. And Kevin Franzen, who is 1 for 3, will be the batter.
And Soriano's a little fried right now because he thought, well, he had one low he didn't get. All right, well, I'll throw this one here, and he didn't get that one either. A little right around belt high. I'm not going to hold him on at first base because he's not the tying run. So they'll play back with LaRoche. Team rally a lot. Here comes McCaddy because he can tell his guy is really hot right now, and he has to go out and try and calm him down. He said he doesn't show any emotion. He doesn't, but he's burning.
Yeah, the fiddle it around a little bit.
And that's one of the things about a pitching coach. You have to know your guy, when to go out. Talked about that earlier.
Kimmel didn't even walk out to break up the conversation.
He's got to be tired, too.
One ball, no strikes. Hernandez off second base. Galvis off first. Nationals set up for 2. Ground ball towards short. That could be 2, and that could be the ball game. There's 1. Throw is low, and there's 2. Side is retired, and the Nationals hang on and win it 9-6 over the Phillies. Well, a game that was not picture perfect on either end goes to Washington as Rafael Soriano, despite some troubles here in the 9th inning, he was able to close it out. The Phillies under Ryan Sandberg dropped to 10-9 overall as they have one more game left against the Nationals here tomorrow night at Citizens Bank Park. Our Chevrolet player of the game, he had 4 RBIs, including the first 3, and that's Wilson Ramos, the starting catcher for the Washington Nationals.
Hit a 3-run home run in the first inning, or in the second inning, that just jumped out of here. See our WB Mason deliveries of the game. They hit a couple home runs here tonight. Here's the home run by Ramos on a fastball after a walk and a hit batter. You see it just fly out here to right center. Ball was getting a lot of help out that way tonight. And in the 7th inning, Corey Brown off the bench is a pinch hitter. This is a big-time blast. That baby goes into the upper deck. And those are the 2 home runs hit tonight by the Washington Nationals in their 9 runs. And those are our WB Mason deliveries of the game.
So the Phils lose it tonight 9-6. The Nats win it 3 hours and 38 minutes. They take game 2 of the series. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.